Let's go.
Let's go. Dun 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 dun. Copyright strike. That's how that
Mortal
works,
Kombat.
right? All right, is it gonna
Um,
auto start on? Oh no, it does. It just auto started on YouTube too. Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome to our first official unofficial rum and coke night. Damn, it has been a hot second since we did one of these, so I've got a plethora of people here. But before we get started, I did want to say welcome. Grab a drink if you would like a drink. If you do not want a drink, we will go around and talk about what everybody's drinking. And I bet you $5 there's 2 people in here drinking, and everybody else is consuming caffeine. They have a whole other type of drug on their hands.
guilty as charged.
I do not know how long it's been since we've actually done a rum and coke night, so I figured I'd reach out to everybody, get the crew back together, and we have some really dumb thing to look at before we get into our more standard rum and coke, which is a very open form, kind of talk about whatever the topic happens to be. Well, the reason I made it a rum and coke, by the way, was to purposefully annoy some people. that was 100% a troll. I 100% stole this from
I applaud
Steve
your effort.
because Steve invented rum and cokes. Literally.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that.
right. Oh, yeah, right.
Rum and Coke for any
Yeah.
of the uninitiated was a back in the day hangout stream that was very much open for any community members to come in and out as they so please.
And host also.
And host, yeah, it wasn't just like an only Steve was allowed the host thing. It was like anybody could host it, and it was anybody in the community could come and go as they pleased. Unfortunately, some people with some kind of ego issues seem to think that things that belong to a community belong to them. Anyway, I'm an asshole and just trolling, so that's why we're doing a rum and coke night, and I was planning on bringing it back anyway. So we started a little bit early, and I have some goobery nonsense to show you guys, and then once that's complete, we will open it up more to sort of everybody. So basically, anybody who's in the chat and people can contact me, and I'll get you guys links. You can find me. You can either DM me, you can email me, and we'll see what we can get going. So first, let's go around the circle. We'll start with Mr. Serious, Dapper, Athens, Manya, then Al. I'm Chesh. I'm drinking a ginger ale and Kraken, and that's my drink. What you got going on, Mr. Serious?
I'm drinking coffee mixed with hot chocolate, which is actually really nice. I got some carbonated water too, which is really edgy. So I'm ready to blast off at any moment over here. But yeah, also this rum and coke is new and improved, over the other one because I'm actually here.
Yay!
I never appeared in Miss Steve's rum and cokes, not only actually once ever. So
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, and then I just never did because I don't really like the huge crowds that he would have on his rum and cokes because they were insane.
It gets a little bit out of control.
Well, especially for somebody who is autistic, which I just recently found out, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah. So, but yeah, this is pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far.
Dapper, what's going on with you?
I got some cola. It's generic brand because I'm cheap, and some Sailor Jerry's rum. No. And I don't know. I'm just hanging out. I do like though that you warned me that we would be starting with some really stupid shit. I'm like, well, yeah.
Of course we are. It's the surprise of nobody.
Yeah, it's like telling me, hey, Dapper, you're breathing in a lot of nitrogen right now. It's like, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look at Dapper over there fucking breathing. What an asshole.
Right? It's just like, what other options were there ever going to be other than really stupid shit? I just assume anytime anyone wants to be anywhere, it's because there's stupid shit going on. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice. Athens, what's up with you?
So, since I don't drink, so I go with Dr. Pepper or Baja Blast.
Ooh, okay. I've never had Baja Blast. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I'd be willing to try Baja Blast, though.
You gotta get yourself to a Taco Bell.
They're in grocery stores right now. They're going to be out all year long due to the 20th anniversary.
Maybe I'll go looking. Maybe Baja Blast will be in the international section.
Actually, not to interrupt, but I'm totally going to interrupt. There was a guy who likes to put out secrets from restaurants, and he actually put out the secret to how to make Baja Blast.
Yes,
and apparently, It's
right?
It is, yeah. You know who I'm talking about. But it is mixing like 3 of the actual sodas that they had there in a Taco Bell before they actually made Baja Blast a thing. So you can actually make Baja Blast at home if you want.
What sodas are they?
One of them is like a Gatorade that they
I
sell.
think it's Gatorade, Mountain Dew, and Sprite, but I
Yes.
could be wrong
That's
if I'm
it.
remembering correctly.
Okay. Well, it's gonna have to be like the blue Gatorade, I suppose, to get the right color.
Blue Gatorade.
Okay.
It might actually be not just regular Mountain Dew. It might be a flavor, like one of the flavors of Mountain Dew.
Well, it's definitely not Code Red.
No.
Yeah, I think it's
Then it
regular
can go.
Mountain Dew, Sprite, and Gatorade. I think that is exactly right. I think you got it right on the first
So
try.
are you telling me Baja Blast has less caffeine than regular Mountain Dew?
Yes. Because there's no
Interesting.
caffeine. Yeah, there's no caffeine in Powerade or Gatorade, and there's no caffeine in Sprite. So,
Yeah.
so yes.
Well, today I learned.
Yay!
Unless they extra caffeinate the Baja Blast that they make themselves.
They add
Unless
more caffeine into it. They just crush up caffeine pills and sprinkle it on top.
I mean, that's not that far off from how soda gets caffeine in the first place.
I like how this rum and coke is already on board with being like, what are we talking about? Mania, what's going on with you?
Also, like Athens, I can't drink, so I have tea. This is my second cup of tea for today, and yeah, I'm enjoying one hot brew, and I've got a chocolate lava muffin with me to go with it. So yay me!
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
That's me.
cool.
What's going on with you, Al?
I got some red Powerade Zero. Maybe I started thinking about that for a second because you're talking about Baja Blast, and I'm like, what if you took Code Red and mixed it with like a Powerade or Gatorade and some Sprite?
Do it.
Make forbidden like different Baja Blast strains or something.
Oh my god, you're basically gonna start crossing the streams and being like, but what about this version of Baja Blast? And what about this version of Baja Blast? If anybody's not following like the what does he call himself? The fast food president? Secrets?
Jordan.
Fast food secrets? Go find that guy. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you guys want to jump into this so we can get it over with because nobody really wants to watch this, but we're gonna do it anyway.
I
So
want to watch it.
Let go. Let go.
we're
Oh
not
gosh,
gonna watch the whole
it's already
thing,
ominous. It's already like just an ominous like audio stream.
right? We're not gonna watch the whole thing. I watched it through and grabbed like some timestamps, so we're not gonna waste our time hearing these people repeat themselves over and over and saying dumb crap. But we're gonna burn through this super duper quickly, and then we'll go on to like the real fun of the show, which is like, you know, actually having fun talking about interesting topics instead of this dumb crap. But I wanted to bring kind of the old crew together to, one, do something that we hadn't done in a really, really long time, and wanted to start up doing again. And two, see kind of what you guys think who are around at the time or like around before, like the old guard, about what you hear now. So I'm gonna let this play a little bit, and then you guys tell me what you think. Make sure let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to.
Should I be able to hear anything yet?
Damn. I hate when that happens. Okay, let me use
Yeah,
this.
it's rum and coke. No worries.
Yeah, I haven't used StreamYards in God knows how long.
Why do I
So
hear
it's
boss
also
music?
share tab audio, right? And then application window. To share audio, share a tab or a screen instead. Oh, okay, so it doesn't like that. Got it. All right, got it. This one. Share. There we go. I had the wrong one selected. Okay.
So this is my paper so far that I printed out against Starla. Okay, now in California, the initial restraining order is 36 pages long. So
wow.
yeah, so I'm gonna go with my evidence first more than anything. So the big one is this one. This is her thing where she says, I will swat you from RedTube, right? Now
Yes.
the big thing on this one is, now I'll be straight up. Can I prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she sent that? No, but you have to remember, in court, you only have to have what's called a preponderance of the evidence. 51%. And so I'm going to but make my case and include that as part of the preponderance of the evidence. Obviously, it's different than a criminal matter; it's a civil matter, because it's a consilience of her not just doing this to me, but to other people, and also that she has clearly been leaving messages for me to take on the videos and other people to take on the videos. Now,
so thoughts, questions, concerns?
I mean, for one thing, he is right that you don't need beyond reasonable doubt to get a restraining order.
Yes.
I mean, if that were the case, you would need an actual full-on criminal-style trial for every restraining order. That's never going to be a workable situation. But also, is he going to try to connect this to, like, his claim that he was doxxed when someone called in a noise complaint on his apartment and two uniformed officers politely knocked on his gate?
He tried to tie this into he was doxxed because he filed in California and Charla shared the filing. That is public.
Public filing that I was able to find quite easily. I was tracking that case in the background with help from no one. So, yeah. And the thing he's trying to do here, that he's like, oh yeah, I don't have to show much to prove. He has to, because he's claiming that the messages he's receiving, like the RedTube one, is from Charla. How are you making that connection?
It's okay, it gets better. Listen to this.
Oh my God.
if she didn't send this though, she knows who did. I'm convinced of that. There's only three options. She has no idea who sent it. She sent it, which unfortunately she does, it could be Alice. Okay. So I don't know if Alice is doing her dirty work for her, but it is quite possible. But even if that's the case, she's involved with that too. So I just have to.
Okay, can we pause?
I just have to assume that it's her for right now, right? There's another one I showed you guys. This is an anonymous email.
Okay.
And this is one that I've never received from this particular mailing version before. When Nat was around, Nat used a VPN that was out of Sri Lanka. This one's not. This was out of Tanzania or something, which is completely different. So this doesn't sound like anything about Nat. This would be more Alice's style, or what I'm thinking is clearly Charlotte. And I'll read it to you.
Right.
And I haven't released this publicly. So it says, take my name out of all your YouTube commentary posts and take down all YouTube videos made about me. Delete all Twitter.
I'm going to pause it real quick because somebody's going to come in and I'm just going to jump it forward because he just repeats himself here.
This is insane. This is absolutely freaking insane. He just said that he was just going to try to prove it, but like with some kind of preponderance of the evidence. And then as soon as he goes after, he says, well, if she didn't do it, so-and-so did. He just blew his entire case.
Yeah, it goes further than that. In this next clip, he goes on to say that it was actually probably this other person, but I think this other person is working on behalf of this individual.
Regardless, if the other person did it, then they're the number one culprit. And then you have to file completely separate charges of, like, conspiracy on the other person. You can't file charges that the original person did it if they didn't do it. Like, that's the whole purpose of the charge to begin with. I don't think he understands how charges work.
Well, I mean, technically, no one's filing charges here because this is so far not a criminal matter.
So, and also,
you mean the case, not the charge.
He is saying that he can prove it, by preponderance. So you have to first prove that you have that many cases or instances to prove preponderance. You are just saying that she sent me this. You're not demonstrating how you verified she sent you that.
Well, and he's trying to say
that
she's done this to other people, but there is no
connection. How are you making those connections? That's the same question I asked down the rabbit hole at bedtime. How are you making that connection?
I mean,
it's like, oh, sorry.
Does he actually have any documentation to indicate that other people who run afoul of her have had swatting threats? Because for one thing, we know she absolutely has not been swatted.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's happened very, very recently and I haven't heard about it.
Well, so this was September 3rd. This call took place before the SWAT he claimed happened, which happened on the 12th.
Okay.
So this is just like somebody signed him up for RedTube, and in the sign up for RedTube that he got to his email, it said, "I will SWAT you," or something along those lines. But he has no idea about where that came from.
Okay.
It came from RedTube.
Somehow it can't be the dozen people that he talked about, like, religiously for like months and months after he got angry. Like, it can't be anybody else.
Steve isn't at a want for enemies. he's got a large stable of people who are justifiably mad at him. I'm not going to say it's justified to squat him because that's basically attempted murder in my book, but who are very angry and who I could certainly see some of them. Because I mean, look, there were people who were angry at Steve and then decided to like do things like dox anyone associated with him or send threats to people.
I was just thinking that Steve's like tendency to hyperfixate on people and talk about them, like even though he's already like exhausted the subject or rehashed something, he'll use a tit for tat type of approach where even if he'll say outwardly that I'm speculating and I don't think this could be them, but it could be them. So I'm going to keep talking about this for 3 hours straight. It's like you're wasting your life just talking about things that are inside your head that you have that you just said you have no evidence for. Why don't you like go to a different topic, like for your own sake?
He did the same thing to me, right? When I withdrew my money from the GoFundMe, he came back. He tried to strike back by saying that I committed fraud by initiating a complaint against me with GoFundMe, which we still don't know where it ended up. We still don't know what happened to that.
Well, I have it on good authority that the FBI is heading down to New Zealand to come get you, Nadia.
Oh no! 3 years later.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys! Look, I know for a fact that everybody in the world loves Steve. Look, Steve's never made a stream that was like horrifyingly transphobic or anything like that. And he's never angered anybody ever and given anybody any reason to sign him up for RedTube and say anything of that nature or anger anybody in that fashion.
I'm done with all my enemies for the 12th time.
But here's the question. Do you think he's taking advantage of his new account there?
Ooh, I'll make a poll.
Deals a lot with it as well.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's funny because the cop I called the dispatch and the cop got a hold of me, knew Charlotte. So it must be a pretty small town. Officer Richardson.
I don't know who he is, but I do know she's had several run-in with the police there. None of them good.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this one I was like saying, this is an email that I got in regards to cease and desist, because she did send cease and desist to me. That I have. That's factual. This one, like I said, I don't know who actually sent this. I can't prove it, but I was telling the mods that in a civil case, it's preponderance of the evidence. She has none.
But proving it would be beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, if you can demonstrate something beyond a shadow of a doubt, then you've also met the preponderance of the evidence. But I don't see any evidence that Steve can meet the preponderance of the evidence standard.
Nope.
Because all he's got is like, well, I think this is the kind of person this woman is. It's like, okay, I don't.
Saying that the cadence matches is not a good reason to say or at all that this is the same person. That's not how it works.
The best you have is an inference, yeah.
Look, I don't know this woman.
I think so. That's
maybe
also
she is the kind of person who would be doing this. Sure. I have no idea.
I don't know whether it creeps me out or like is funny or anything, but you describing Steve like having that email and him, like I had an image of him like shrugging his shoulders, like, oh, might as well. Like, just,
well, I've already got the account now.
I'm already getting something that looks like a phishing email. I might as well.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely not somebody of that group of people that is the type of person to have sent this kind of thing.
Yeah, she has none. Like literally, because everything she falsely accused me, Megan, Veda, and other people of wanting her, as you know, social security number, driver's license number, and we're not going to take that sitting down. We take that very seriously.
Yeah.
Is that
so? She says, take my name out of all your YouTube commentary posts and take that.
Veda claims that she asked Charla for her driver's license after the fact, after all of them were like, we never asked for anything. Why would you send us any of this stuff? Blah, 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 blah. Used it as an excuse to go after her. And then it turned out that Veda came forward to say that she did, in fact, ask her for that driver's license. So he's full of shit.
Oh, no. I can't believe it.
All YouTube videos made about me, delete them. All Twitter, Facebook, Instagram activity about me, and stop talking to my family. And all this would stop. If not, I will have you charged with harassment, sending threats, attempted murder by attempting swatting, sending people to yourself.
Steve, that sounds just like Debbie.
And it could be. This could be. And see, here's the thing. That could be Debbie, but Debbie also is probably working with Charlotte.
She is.
Hold on a minute.
For sure.
Did he say that that's in the cease and desist?
That is in the email that he received from Charlotte, yes.
That she's gonna swat him?
No, that she is going after him for threats of swatting.
Okay, got it. Sorry, I misheard. Thanks for the clarification.
Just what I'm saying. If she didn't send this, so she can have plausible deniability. Not that I think she cares. She would lie in court probably. She's having Debbie or Erica or I thought maybe Nat or Alice or one of them do this for her. Now probably you're right. This might possibly be Debbie, but I'm still going to treat it as if it's Charla as a burden of proof because Charla's involved with it. I'm going to put the onus on her a little bit to kind of explain what's going on. I'm sure she can deny it, but I have also the cease and desist and the other paperwork that she sent. And so sure, it's just an accumulation of evidence. Now, I don't think she's going to show. But
this is him talking about his California case, saying, I don't think it's her. I think other people are doing this on her behalf, but I'm going to go after her in court anyway. That's not bullshitting the court, right?
Yeah, that's some iffy behavior. Because if you are presenting in because you need an affidavit, right? You need to be able to say to the court, or you need to go in and give your own testimony. You need to be able to say to the court that I believe that this person is going to be doing or is a threat to me for these reasons. I have a legitimate fear of these things happening, whether it be physical harm, whether it be some kind of property crime against me, whether it be fear for my life, things like that. And you have to be able to say that I actually do, in fact, fear that this person is that threat. And what Steve seems to be saying is he doesn't actually think that she's that threat. He thinks other individuals are, which, I mean, for all I know, maybe they are. But then the proper thing to do is try to get a restraining order against those people. And if you can't identify who that is, then especially if it's doing things like you think that they're crossing state lines and engaging in things like wire fraud or things like that, like signing you up for fraudulently signing you up for accounts and whatnot. Yeah. Report that to law enforcement. In fact, I think if it's over state lines, that might even be an FBI matter. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer or in the FBI.
Okay, I have a theory. It's just a theory.
A game theory.
A Steve theory.
A Steve theory.
Okay.
Okay, now let's say that Steve is getting all of these dox threats and stuff from a whole lot of people. Let's say that what he's doing right now is he's just wrapping all of that up and then taking all of that frustration and anger and focusing it on one person and going after that person and I'm going to set an example of you for all of these other people. And that's why it's all disjointed and disconnected, because that person Charlotte didn't do all of these things, but he's blaming her for all his woes.
Yeah. It's like retribution on a scapegoat or something.
Well, the thing is,
okay, go on, please.
I was going to say, the thing is, if goodness.
Dapper, go on. Go
on. Okay. So, the thing is, if he actually has evidence that she is someone who is responsible for things that are, the threat of, harm to him, and he also thinks that her friends are, but he wants to go after her first. I mean, that is something that you can do, right? Because she is, if he's right, a legitimate threat. And maybe they are too. But the thing is, does he have evidence of this? Does he have evidence that she's actually the one? Because all I'm seeing is Steve, and this is my understanding, right? I don't have firsthand knowledge of any of this, but from what I've been able to gather, Steve got pissy because of how she was running a Facebook group, then started harassing her, couldn't take what he was dishing out, and now she's sending him a cease and desist to get him to stop continuing to harass her, which may, in fact, be causing some of her friends or fans or whatever to go after Steve. That could well be the case. I mean, it's not like Steve doesn't bring that on himself.
She has no audience, Dapper.
Oh, well, then in that case...
She has no YouTube channel. She's not a creator. She has nothing.
I mean, maybe the other people in the Facebook group she's a mod on?
No, she left. She left.
No. She left. They harassed her out. And also, did Steve just perjure himself there? I'm just asking.
I don't know, because I don't know what's in any of his filings, but it could certainly be the case. Because
okay, it's gonna get better. Get
out of here. I got two questions.
Get my face out of everybody's face.
There we go. Sorry. Yes, go ahead.
So this is based after a certain event happened in his life. He got harmed. He like fell over in a street or something, like
Yeah.
outside a bar or a restaurant.
Yeah.
One, do we agree that a tumor in your brain can cause like persecutory delusions and stuff like that?
Depending on where it is, sure.
Do we know whether that can be caused by blunt force for one to grow?
I don't know if a tumor can be caused by blunt force, but like brain damage is possible.
As the brain tries to repair itself, it's like, I'm
Sure.
under attack.
Okay, but is this actually new behavior from Steve? Really?
It's definitely accelerated.
alright, let's
and
listen to
exaggerated now.
Yeah, let's listen to a little bit more, and we'll see if we can figure that out.
And I do, and by the way, I do want to make sure that you get a family statement out, everybody here, so they know, like I said, that she's fucking crazy, and that the trolls don't give a shit. They've been coming after us for a long time.
Oh, I would like to point out real quick, the person he's talking to right now is Charla's ex, like estranged adopted daughter.
Oh,
that he pulled
gross.
into this call. Yeah.
Mhm.
So just
Okay.
for some quick context there, I cut out most of what she had to say because I'm like, that's fucked up.
Also,
Yeah,
the
she did say a
trolls,
lot of
quest-
things,
like,
yeah.
Quotation marks. The trolls, like
The trolls.
it's the they.
Yep.
Yeah, again, yeah, it's I don't get it. If you're going to go to court, be sure of what you're filing is correct. Why would you do that to yourself? The only thing I can think is I might be committing a fallacy here, but the only thing I think that he did it for is to be retaliatory, in my opinion. That's what this was. Like Al said, he gets pissy and then he strikes back, and that was his way. And I also think that he thought that he will run down Charla and both mentally and financially, and this will go away.
That's his
I
modus on
think-
Twitter. Is like if he reaches a point where he thinks he can disconnect and like get a win, be like, "Oh, you've done this. You're a troll. Goodbye. You're the weakest link." You know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the timeline of events, though. Like, what is he being retaliatory for? They went in and they took a Facebook group away from her that they weren't even a part of. Like, this is not even a Facebook group that they had any right to even touch. Like, she was a part of it. They didn't touch it. They went in and then stole it from her, and then started bad-mouthing her after she was kicked out. And then she had to be like, hey, stop bad-mouthing me. You've already taken, like, the thing I had, the one thing I had, and now I got nothing out there. She's not even a figure in
I think
YouTube.
it's also actually reasonable because Charla took the initiative to leave, but I think that there's reason to like say that she was kicked out because the only reason she left was because these people wouldn't stop haranguing her. And I don't know that I don't see how that's not being kicked out, even if she decided to walk away.
Right. And then they
they
wouldn't stop,
harassed her.
though. They didn't
Right.
stop after she left. They just kept on and on and on. And the only way to make them stop was to file this suit. And now they have to be retaliatory about it. It's like, what? It's like they're retaliating because they were told to stop harassing somebody. It's like, I don't understand.
More freedom of speech.
Everybody here, so they know, like I said, that she's fucking crazy, and that the trolls don't give a shit. They've been coming after us for a long time. This one here is another print that I have, and I'm gonna read it to you. It says, completely disgusting. As a survivor of long-term violent child rape, which apparently is not the case. For Steve McRae to compare me sending my ID to someone I trusted upon the prompting of him, which was a lie. Vega and Megan, shows me that he has no idea what it's like to be a real victim. Only deeply wishes to be seen as one. Which clearly she was twisting what I said, because nobody was comparing her sending ID to a rape victim. What the comparison was of the inability to have a choice. And Tina pointed out that she took away her choice. She took away Megan's choice when she just sent her ID.
Wait.
And I think it's all about consent. I mean, if you send something to somebody who's not, if I send somebody pictures of that they don't want, I violated that because I didn't ask for consent to do so. And ID, I think, would be something along those lines, is like, you shouldn't just send your ID to people. So she didn't grasp that.
Oh no, Steve. We grasp it, and you used the word rape. You dumb fuck.
Like when Kano told Steve not to post pictures of her when she was drunk.
No, was that Kano?
I don't know. What
I
was
don't
it again?
remember
Sorry,
that.
repeat that for me, please.
Kano said don't post pictures of her when she's drunk, and Steve did it anyway.
I don't
No,
remember.
it wasn't. It wasn't Kano. It was his date. His date. They were clearly drunk, and Steve was just following them around with a camera. They were trying to get their face away from the camera, but he just kept shoving his camera in their face, and everybody was like, she's clearly uncomfortable, why aren't you stopping? So it wasn't Kano, it was another person he was with date on.
Okay, I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, and it's
Well, he claimed that he had permission. But the
Doesn't
picture,
sound like it.
the picture is questionable.
Yeah, that's like right before he bumped his head.
Yes.
Oh man.
Wait, so I have a question because I don't know if I ever found this out. What the heck was the Facebook group?
It was we don't like Katie Joy.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's still on that. Remember that lawsuit he was going to file? And so-
Katie Joy.
That GoFundMe is still up. That one.
I'm
Wasn't
pretty
the
sure it's
Facebook called,
after the limitations on that. I don't think you can file that lawsuit anymore.
He cannot.
Not for the reasons he put in it. Not anymore.
Not any reason. He has no reason.
Yeah, because Katie Joy has given him none. She's
I
listened
mean,
to a lawyer.
Yeah, she did good for her because I mean, what she did probably could be sued. She probably could be sued for, and there's a fair chance she would lose. Because I mean, as much as I'm not a big fan of Steve, Katie Joy is also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I think the Facebook page was called "Katie Joy is Rita Repulsa?" ?
Can I dig up?
Okay.
Can I dig up some old shit that was buried and gone?
Oh God. Yeah, sure, go for it.
If this is how he goes about like commandeering or what do you call it, moderating groups, how about that Google Plus group?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, it's a really
good question.
You mean the one that he had that he kicked out, unceremoniously kicked out Nate Brody, then let him back in, apologized, and then like nobody got over it?
Right, but I mean, I didn't know anything about it, so I was like, I mean, I'm like sitting out, like not taking sides specifically, but I'm like, you know what? For the benefit of the doubt, I'll believe you at your word. But now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, you know what? Maybe you were the dick all along because you're doing this, and now you're trying to say you're the good guy. Maybe that if this is the way you act, maybe Nate was the good guy the last time.
Now
Definitely
that's
not.
preponderance.
But
Well, I will say this.
everybody can be a jerk.
The people who, spent years doing nothing but having extensive streams about Steve, harassing anyone who had anything to do with him, and that stuff, there's a reason that no one believed them, and it's that behavior. And the fact that Steve probably did do the things that they accused him of doesn't excuse that bad behavior.
Yeah, Steve Steve deciding to act like one of these people doesn't suddenly mean those people were right in a lot of the shit that they did, not whatever accusation they made.
Yeah, I fully believe that they were probably
Which is
telling
literally the thing that I said. I said that so many times. God damn it!
The fact
Nobody
that
listens to
they've
me.
continued on, the fact that they've continued on in the background, like just do a cursory check.
Doing this shit
And
that we're watching right now.
It's like your life
September.
is inexorably tied to Steve. You will never get over it. I don't think any of us have like. I don't think any of us have have thought about that much or like spent live streams talking about Steve for at all hardly in the last 2 years.
I also haven't been going around Twitter and stalking the people who he has modding for him.
I'd say Chesh is an exception because she's got her channel and she makes stuff on it, and it's not that it hasn't been that much. It's been when he does something off the wall.
Yeah, like the critical race theory and the transphobia. And I keep saying.
Yeah, it's not talking about he bought a new shoe and that shoe is evil or something
Yeah, and also I keep saying these ladies who are around him, they are keeping him around for the sake of content, for the sake of notoriety, for the sake of views. That's what he provides them because he does all these shenanigans, not even shenanigans. He does all these stupid things.
He's easy. It's easy to rile
Easy.
Steve up. It's always been easy to rile
Exactly.
Steve up. He's easy to troll. It's easy to tell him what he wants to hear or say something
Exactly.
you know he doesn't want to hear and he'll fly off the fucking handle. He's always been like that.
Just to be clear, and before we move on, I don't mean to say that I give anybody a break for after the Google Plus thing for giving Steve shit for infinitum after that. I don't think that Steve deserved like infinite flack for anything that happened with the Google Plus thing. But my issue is that Steve in the community was acting as if he didn't have any options but to take the actions that he took. Like he was the innocent little lamb who did the only option that he had left available to him in order to survive the situation that he was in. And looking at
people
that,
who were like best friends to him and a person that he was co-hosting a thing with that he called his brother, like that's a really hard heel turn to do.
What?
Times.
You mean being a traitorous bitch?
Right.
Let me just show you that. Here's the actual restraining order. And I'm smart. If you look at the address I used, there's a provision in here for what's called personal conduct rules. Personal conduct is basically before we have a hearing, what they should not do. And I specifically requested here. Oh, damn, I want the papers. I said, where's it at here? Yeah, I said, I request respondent not seek to find my current address. Respondent has been using an old address from a property I sold in 2014 and is now terrorizing an innocent family. I have notified local law enforcement about swatting attempts to that residency, and I give you the Indio Police Department's
Do you have any evidence of that?
That is right there. What is that? It's hard to show this shit, isn't it? Yeah, but you get the idea. It's right there. So, what I'm basically filing the restraining order for, I'm saying, and then I got you guys questions. Responded for 2 months has filed false privacy strikes against my videos discussing her. Continues to text voice over IP cell phone number, or my iPhone number, from her cell phone. Asked me to take down videos after I've told her to never contact me. She's attempted to open multiple lines of credit in my name, and I give the net credit incident number. I have a police report for identity fraud. Give that incident number. She has on numerous occasions attempted to change my social media passwords on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Grubhub, and other sites. She has ordered twice from Domino's Pizza in my name, cash on demand, using one's code Charlotte for the gate code. And I'll include Cammy's statement that she has opened lines of credit before in her name. I don't think I need an affidavit. I'm just gonna put it in there. If they want to contact you, they can. But anyways, that's my RO evidence, pretty much. I think it's strong. It's significant. What do you think, Cammy?
I think it's fine, and I know I sent it to you, but I'm comfortable with whatever I sent to you in email. You can use some of that information as well. I'm great.
Can you send me what you emailed him? Because I'm filing mine on Tuesday after my stupid date with her.
Want to know that what's easier than getting an RO? Not making a mountain out of a molehill when nothing's happening.
Wow, go figure.
The fact he thinks that because he went and made a complaint and he got a case number or a ticket number, that proves that it was that Charla. I am astounded he thinks that will hold up in court.
I'm astounded that he thinks somebody stalking and harassing him would use their own name as the passcode.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. That does not seem terribly plausible there.
You know what, guys? I've been getting calls from a guy who's been wanting to sell me car insurance, like so many times over the last month, and I know that it's Steve stalking me. I'm getting a restraining order.
Who the hell is trying to sell your disabled ass fucking car insurance?
It must be Steve. It must be.
It has to be Steve. Only Steve would be that stupid.
There's no other explanation.
Steve gets that call and he's like, "Why did Charlotte send this person to me?"
I'm astounded.
Did you
I'm
catch
just
that end bit?
Astounded.
Of Veda being like, "Hey, can you forward me that document for my case that I'm bringing against Charlotte?"
Oh, she's gonna copy paste it? Oh, okay. Hi, Veda, you copy paste other people's homework?
Hey, this thing that happened to somebody else, I'm gonna sue him for that too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, my biological mom had a drug problem, and yeah,
just these types of things just. But she doesn't use any of her personal information, so nobody knows anything real about her. Nor do we care. But all she does is involve herself in these types.
Steve saying "nor do we care" is like the most disingenuous thing I've ever heard him say.
Right. So I jump forward a little bit, and this is them after they've been like, we would never ask for IDs. We would never. It's not our shtick. It's not our shtick. Why would we need to know who anybody is? Why would we ever need to know who anybody is to give them credibility? And then they say this.
Random nobody on YouTube on Twitter for a very long time. She has like probably 100 accounts. She's made fake accounts multiple times. She deletes her Twitter and starts over again. Nobody knows really much about her except that she lives in Canada, has a kid, supposedly married, but she doesn't use any of her personal information, so nobody knows anything real about her. Nor do we care. But all she does is involve herself in these types of things just to start shit. Sounds like Charlotte, right?
Almost like she's not a person that's
So you've heard the name Alice. She's fucking just like Charlotte.
So who is
Okay, Whispering. Her real name is Joan Smith.
Joan Smith.
Yeah, and she's had multiple accounts on Twitter as well, but she's just, I don't know what her story is. I have no idea. She's just a shit stirrer.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's a shit stirrer. Yeah. So I don't know anything else about that. Robert, which one's Robert?
You're sitting here claiming that people, if you don't know enough about them, don't matter, and that they have no validity in whatever their argument is or what they're saying. But then complaining that, like, we would never ask or impose on somebody to get their information.
It's like rapid fire. These people are irrelevant, but they're destroying my entire life.
Right.
They can't be talking about Charla when they're saying that. Are they talking about Charla?
They're talking about Charla and Alice, and then they're also talking about somebody named Joan.
Because they were harassing her to the point where she had to press charges. So,
well, she hasn't pressed charges. She just sued them.
Right. So, like, they do care about Charla a lot. They care a shit ton about Charla to the point where they have to continuously harass her nonstop.
Maybe he should just be a science channel.
The hours of the number of hours, Steve, in total that Steve made content about this person disparaging her on his channel is 24 to 25 hours. That's what it was. I counted them. I added them up. And if I say I can tell you this whole fucking bunch also how many hours they have covered this lady for, Charla for. I have that number too, because I do my fucking homework. It's more than 25. Let's just say it's more than 25 hours. So, yeah, you care, motherfucker, and you admitted on the Twitter that you're going to use Charla for content. You didn't care what she was going through. You didn't give a shit. And now you're whining that because you didn't give shit and you're now facing the consequences of your actions. Get the fuck out of here.
When people when people unprompted bring up a topic, they can't then claim that they don't care about the topic they're talking about. Like that is a sure sign that you're listening to like charlatans.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second, actually.
So I have a question about Charlotte. Okay, so these images that she's portraying of herself on Twitter and Facebook, is that not her, or is that just somebody else, some fake photo? It looks like a glamour shot she's using.
The picture of like the country people and herself.
No,
well,
just
the avatar for her Twitter. I can show you.
Yeah, like just the avatar she's using. Is that really her?
I don't have Twitter, so I don't know.
I heard it was Photoshop as shit. So
right. She's got a mirror up. She's got bangs, and she.
I'll show you.
Yeah, show her, please. I just want to know if that's even her, because if not,
I think it's her, but it's Photoshop as shit.
No, it's not.
So they are sharing her photos around behind closed doors.
But it's Photoshopped to shit.
Well, yeah, because obviously she has to be ugly.
Right.
I think it's a glamour picture, because if you look, the facial structure is the same, but she looks haggard as hell.
How old is she? Like, what age range?
Yeah, that's her. So that was a professional photo she had done.
We can't all make Minecraft thumbnails.
Oh, damn.
So why are they interested in what account she's using on Twitter and what picture she's using on her account? If it's quite obvious it's her, what's the point of discussing that picture? I would love to know. What
She's ugly.
It's if the content is attributable to a person, not if the picture is.
Why are you? Okay, whatever.
Lanya,
yeah.
it's important that she's an ugly bitch. It's important.
Yeah, it matters.
Katie Joy. No,
It matters.
Katie Joy, you guys.
The same way it matters that because he said that he would never harass Katie because she's ugly. That's the same way. Oh, okay.
As if that's valid.
Yeah, and I told
After my
him
freshman year of college, I told him that I was a lesbian, and he told my parents.
That wasn't because of him, right? I mean, that's too personal, but it wasn't because of him, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a sweet guy. We're still really good friends. And I always say,
I'm gonna play that again because I doubt you caught it.
Can you slow it down a bit? Can we slow it down? Thank you.
oh, just all around good kid. I had a boyfriend my last couple years in high school, which my parents loved. And after my freshman year in college, I told him that I was a lesbian, and he told my parents.
That wasn't because of him, right? I mean, that's too personal, but it wasn't because of him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a sweet guy. We're still really good friends. And I always say, you know, I knew I was a lesbian because he's like the perfect gentleman. But he told my parents. It was kind of an accident. That's a whole other story. My dad.
So she's a confirmed bigot, then, I assume.
Yeah.
How is she a confirmed bigot when you were sitting there and saying it was probably your first boyfriend's behavior that turned her into a lesbian?
I have no idea how you say something so bigoted and then immediately be like, so they're a bigot, right?
They are a bigot.
Wait, guys, remember all those streams and shows that Steve did that was basically like, hey, are trans people valid? Because I remember those.
And all those streams that he had, are trans people valid? And then everybody he brought on said no.
Yeah, weird, huh? It's
funny. Jack said clearly Steve has created some fantasy or delusion that he thinks he's intellectually superior to anyone who tells him he's wrong, which is not even humanly possible, and intellectually inferior. Yeah, during one of this, during one of the things I skipped over, he talks about how he's not a narcissist, and Charla having a glamour shot is just vanity, and then goes on to talk about how ugly he is right now because he didn't bother getting dressed for this call or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah.
Look, Steve is really desperate to try to find somebody who will turn him gay.
Kyle didn't do it for him.
He wants it so bad.
He
was talking about what would his life be like if the cop showed up at his house and he was a black lesbian woman.
Oh god.
Right?
That is the thing he did bring up.
I mean,
my dad had a whole relationship with me for several years. A couple years ago at my nephew's birthday party, he was pleasant, but he doesn't speak to me because of her.
Charla.
So
yeah, you said that she basically destroyed your relationship with.
Hold on a minute. She's talking about someone else. It's not Charla she's talking about. I think so. She's talking about her father. How is Charla responsible for what her father did? I don't get it.
I mean, look, I have no idea what happened in their family, so I'm not going to comment too much.
Well, that's the thing that's bizarre. Why are they talking about what happened in their fucking interpersonal family relationship from one side and then presenting it to YouTube as if that's valid? Admittedly, this is a recording that happened in the background, but they talked about this shit on streams as if it was facts afterwards.
Well, it's
because like basically what you have here is you have an entire stream of them concocting conspiracy theories and then going live about it afterwards.
Right, it was a little powwow, so they could like we did earlier. We made all these powwows about how Steve wanted to be gay, and so I could talk about it and release that secret information now to everyone.
And then you put out a Photoshop DM that you have with him, right?
Look, if Steve wants to be gay, he can be as gay as he wants. I don't care.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm happy for Steve to be the most gay man that has ever been gay.
I am going to repeat it. So Steve made a fucking homophobic joke saying, "Oh, did your boyfriend turn you into a lesbian?" And then goes on to say somehow connect that Charla did something similar.
Well, Charla was the bigot. Yeah.
Yeah, and without we don't know on what basis.
Yeah, don't get me wrong here. Charla could also be a bigot.
Yes.
But That's not like you saying the bigoted thing and then being like, so she's the bigot. Like, no, you would also be, if Charlotte is a bigot, you are definitively a bigot.
Also, she like chimed back in with like, no, actually, blah blah blah. We had a good rapport and stuff. Like, like
she's talking about
a
father. That's about a father, not about Charlotte. What the fuck?
It's mind blowing to see the similarities between Charlotte and Katie Joy. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Cammy, you probably never even heard of Katie Joy before any of this, correct?
No.
Yeah, and yet Katie Joy was just on Fox 13 News. And yet I wrote to them and other people wrote to them, and we tagged them on Twitter, and we got them to change the article they wrote about her from, because they had an independent journalist on it. They removed that. Love that, because Katie is fuming. But yeah, we told this woman, Katie, she's madder than fuck all, because I guarantee she was probably going to use that in her lawsuit with 7M.
So Nikki, Veda, Steve, and others all wrote in to Fox News to change something about the way they had presented Katie Joy to interfere with what they believe is Katie Joy's lawsuit, and then complaining that other people are trolls, as if that's not trolling.
Yep.
No. That's the God-given right to free speech, Chesh. That's free speech.
Right.
That's not slander. That's not libel. No. That's free speech.
And he's getting off on it.
If it was for something deserved, there's an argument to be made that it's white hat. But if it's just like spontaneous, like, I don't like that you did these things, I don't like you, I'm gonna destroy this opportunity you've gotten, that's just spiteful.
Yeah, I mean, do you see how proud he is of
Black hat?
He's very proud of himself, yes.
Katie Joy's so mad. She's so mad.
If she gets on Fox News, she'll absorb the TV energy and control the world.
Like that's what I'm thinking, because then that would give her credibility, right? Well,
right, yeah. Look, Fox News. Yeah, well, it's so funny saying Fox News called me this if you're credible. Okay, but let's assume Fox News.
So you understand that wouldn't give her any credibility, but you interfered with it anyway. So why did you interfere with it, other than to just feel like you did something?
By interfering with it, he gave her the impetus to be like, I'm being silenced.
News has a little bit of credibility. I don't know if I want to just argue that in court after what was that TV? What was that show they had where they actually said it's entertainment? Who was that when they got sued?
I can't remember.
It was oh come on, the news guy. I know what he looks like, but yeah, they got sued and they basically said, it's entertainment. Don't take him seriously. He's not a serious news reporter. Autistic.
Alex Jones.
Oh,
you kind of got the end of it, but that's okay. But yeah, so Cammy, we're used to dealing with somebody like Charlotte. It's like seriously, Katie Joy's just bigger.
They're used to dealing with somebody like Charlotte, who is the equivalent to Katie Joy. And what do they do to Katie Joy? Troll her and try to affect whatever's going on in her real life with her real life job, and interfere in her lawsuits.
I think both Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson have said that their programs are for entertainment primarily.
And so is Fox News.
True.
Well, you can be for entertainment, but the second you start actually harassing people for entertainment, it's still harassment.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Alex Jones was still sued by the parents of the victims of Parkland shooting.
Yep.
Correct? Yeah. He's got to be one shell of a man, because.
Yeah, let's go forward. That's just bullshit.
Talk about a few questions, but I got a pretty good ARB case.
Your dad is still with Charlotte, correct?
Yeah.
He's got to be one shell of a man, because if
he's probably scared to death. He doesn't want people. He knows what she's capable of.
But she's the type of person that would have that poor man up on rape charges. Is what I think. In order to, if he tried to leave her, or
Katie Joy did. Katie Joy, I swear to God, I'm absolutely convinced Katie Joy lied about that. Nobody's a fucking rape. It was a hump and dump.
Yeah,
she took it personally, and I hate saying that. I'm for victims advocacy, because rape is a real thing. But Katie Joy has been so fucking dishonest, and her story didn't make much sense.
Fuck you, Steve. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm so disappointed with you. Sorry, guys. It's a rant coming in. I'm so disappointed in you. I always try to tell you that looks or someone's, behavior in something else doesn't mean that they were not a victim somewhere else. And you're berating a victim of rape. What is wrong with you? You're not an advocate. The thing is that you're an advocate for victims that go around according to you.
That benefit you and act and behave by your standards, yes.
Yeah, by your standards. That's shameful. Seriously shameful. That is not in the spirit of the non-secular community. That's not what we did ever, and we will not do it anyways. Not now, not ever. I get it. You are angry against Katie Joy for the harassment. I was there. I know. I supported you in that. I know that Katie Joy changed her statements about you, how you harassed her. I know that, and I vehemently repeated that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go and say that Katie Joy was not raped. That's not my place to say. That's not your place to say.
There's also this whole idea too, right? That suddenly it's like that you think it's acceptable to turn that into saying, I think it was a hump and dump. Like, bro, you're not an advocate.
You're not.
What are you talking about? That's not the way an advocate speaks. That's not the way an advocate behaves. The same way with the way down the rabbit hole claims to be a fucking mental health professional as a nurse, and the way she talks about like mental health issues is not the way an advocate speaks.
If you have to mention every time that you're an advocate, you might want to start introspecting.
Yeah, why do you have to profess this instead of just behaving in a way?
Why do you have to
if you were an advocate, you would say, I don't really believe her story, but regardless. That's what you would say.
That's so shameful. And so shameful. And there are people sitting around and just laughing it off.
One of the things that he said here too was, I hate to say that. Like, I'm going to call this a hump and dump, but I hate to say that. No, you don't. You don't hate to say it. In fact, I would suspect that you say it on a regular basis. That's why you were so able to drop it so casually and so easily. Usually when you hate to say something, you're hesitant about it.
He finds it that people get less trustworthy. Oh, actually, less trustworthy as they get out of his inner circle. To the point where they become like liars. And so where he would want somebody incompetent as long as they're his friend. And I'm finding Steve to be a lot like Trump.
Like obey the orthodoxy of Steveism or die.
That's a good way to put it. I'm just so disappointed. When we were with him, he would say it on screen that Katie Joy is so ugly that I would never harass her, and I would correct him. I'm like, regardless of whether she is good looking or not, your character is such that you won't harass anyone like in that way. That's what, and I had to remind him of that, and he just did it again.
Nikki claimed
he learned nothing from me.
Not be in this call, and here she is in this call trying to discuss Sharla's relationship with her husband that she knows nothing about, claiming that Sharla would accuse her husband of rape if he ever got her the wrong way, while also say, and then Steve jumps in to then make that about Katie Joy and that Todd is the same and probably they're afraid of their wives. That does not seem like what Todd, as if I give a shit. And as if I fucking know, right? I don't fucking know. I don't know Sharla's husband, but neither do fucking you. So where the fuck do you get off?
I remember with the original Katie story of the, quote unquote harassment that, I wasn't there.
I still remember it point by point.
I remember he had 3 ways that he said it sometimes, and it was sort of frustrating because all it gave was Katie leverage to go after him in that context. He'd be like, oh, I didn't say that. And then another time he'd be like, it's something I can see myself saying, but Katie looks this way, so I don't think I would say that. And the third one was, I probably did say something like that because I'm just joking around.
He changed his story just as many times as she did.
Yes.
And then...
Yep. Also, I think at this point we can no longer really say that regardless of their character or looks, Steve wouldn't harass anyone.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I told Steve. I'm like, listen, you
You
don't.
tried to
and
harass
I-
me and Chesh. I'm Chesh.
Even
Me and Manya.
indirectly.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
So you two are the same person.
Shit.
Oh no! Oh shit! Oh my
Busted.
goodness!
That Freudian
I
slip.
knew it.
I always emphasized with Steve. It doesn't matter if Katie Joy is good looking or bad looking, or whether her chin is broken or not, and yada yada yada. The fact remains, yes, she has done some things that have made your life, whatever worse or anything like that, or your reputation, right? But that doesn't mean you go after her looks or her kid or her fucking cereal dispenser. And I'm just
I made an argument one time where I said it is reasonable to pick on her looks at one point in an amount to make a point. Because she does it to a lot of people. So if you go, yeah, well, your chin's stupid, and then move on, fine, whatever. Like if somebody's like, if I'm sitting there being like, I think Veda's outfit makes her look like a whore, for example, and then they turn around and say, well, Chesh's hair is stupid, that's fair. Like, that's fair. But, like, you make the statement and then move on. You don't rail on it for 3 years.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. He learned nothing. He learned nothing from me. Or he forgot when he fucking hit that pavement.
He needed to be reminded every 30 seconds because he's got a goldfish brain.
I'm going to ask you if I can use you as a witness if I need to. I don't know how that really works. It's not really explicit how to do a witness in an RO hearing. And I don't think she's going to show, just in case, because she didn't show for the last time somebody gave her an RO. I just want something on writing saying that I did what I have to do. She has restraining order against her, and she cannot find my new address. That's my big concern.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any questions?
Well, anyone to politely knocking on Steve's gate again, that would be horrifying.
That had not happened at this point. He has specifically just said that the reason he tried to get his restraining order in California was so that way she couldn't look for his address to serve him for her Kansas suit.
Oh my goodness. Oh my fucking lord. So the fucking swatting hadn't happened yet.
This is the California suit, his restraining order that he's talking about getting, that he chose not to show any evidence for and dropped without getting anything.
I think so. That's
before
perjury.
The hearing. By before the hearing, I mean 5 minutes before the hearing, because he's like, she's not gonna show. Guess who showed? Guess who got a lawyer?
Yeah. So I think so. He just perjured himself in that thing.
What
he
does
just perjured himself.
It's not explicit. The court is not explicit about how to present witnesses for a restraining order.
Oh, hello. Oh no. I was tracking this case.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the list of witnesses Steve put forward, and the court rejected.
The court rejected it. Yep.
Yes, it's not. It's explicit. It's not vague, Steve. What the fuck are you trying to talk? Okay. You know, maybe I'll log into my account and put out the screenshots that I have. I was tracking this case. It was because it's California. It's easy. It's public. Kansas is a little more tight-lipped, so I can't find much on that. And I'm just like, maybe whatever. So yeah, I don't. And that's the thing. I verified my shit, right? We're listening to the shit he's claiming here. I'm going out there and verifying it. I'm from fucking New Zealand.
Yeah, you can. This information is public information. You can go and look at it.
They could have gone out.
Not only was Steve's fucking witness list rejected, but also he didn't submit shit. So all this 36 pages, which are just printed off tweets, by the way. This boomer fucking printed off tweets to give the, like, what is he gonna mail them? He's gonna sit nail. He must have, because they never showed up in the fucking docket.
Yeah.
He never submitted anything.
So and these they could have I think so he would have told them their case number, and they could have gone out there and you know, verified the shit he was talking about.
Yep.
But they didn't. They just believed him blindly.
Or when somebody buys the cinematic rights to Steve's swatting, they're gonna need all those notes.
We have that cinematic rights, right? It's
we do
on Chesh's channel.
we do also have the swatting that didn't happen. The swatting that never was. It's a Dr. Seuss book.
The Sound of
It's a
Silence.
world in Kingdom Hearts. The SWAT that never was. But anyway, that was all I had. So feel free to discuss amongst yourselves for a minute. I'm gonna let Rez in so Rez can say what he wants to say. And go.
Oh, hi, Rez.
Hey, Rez.
Hello.
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 How is everyone? What have I missed?
Oh, a bunch of Steve nonsense.
Yeah.
Standard. Anything actually interesting though?
Hey, you're breaking up.
Not really.
Am I breaking up?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Not anything that strikes me really hard yet. Mostly that he's continued to spiral.
How's that?
I mean, I heard you say, how's that? But I don't know if you're still saying stuff.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
That was still breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's understandable, but it's like robot-y.
Yeah. Where did Chesh go?
She let
me in, but I will leave and come back and see if that fixes it.
She went into a different dimension.
Oh no! She left her part here. She's Venom. Okay.
She's plain walking.
Menace finally found Chesh.
Oh no! I did not see that coming.
That was like from old lore, like reaching into the darkness.
Yeah, 36 pages. I was like, that's cute. That's cute. I won't say more than that, but it's cute.
I started thinking, Chesh made a Kingdom Hearts allusion, so I was like thinking about Steve as a heartless and a nobody, with like the edgy like X name or whatever, where it's an anagram of their real name with an X in it. I don't even know.
Yeah. I guess because Chesh is in control of this stream, right? So if Rez is trying to come back, she will have to. Oh, there he is. Hey.
Oh, how's that?
Still choppy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah, it's still doing that.
It's funny because Discord seems pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe you have a bad connection to this server in particular.
It's possible.
Yeah,
yes.
It is Australia.
Yeah, Australia has the worst internet, man. What's up with that?
There's like some koalas in the pipes or something. blocking the bits.
The drop bears are chewing on the cables.
To be fair, Romania has some of the best internet in the world, so what's up with that?
Well, I mean, I usually think of Australia as a more prosperous and well-off country than Romania. So, like, you know, that seems okay.
Romania is a poor country with nothing going for it. How does it have some of the best internet in the world? That's my point.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. I think so. What happens is when you start speaking continuously, it gets better. And as you, for some reason, as you're reaching to the end of your sentence, it starts roboting out. I don't know.
Sorry, I just kicked Athens out for a second. I'll bring you back in a sec. There was one thing that I noticed in this chat. So just to give the TLDR, Steve basically almost perjured himself by saying he knew things that he didn't know, claimed that he had a strong case while also claiming that it could be this totally other person, said that he was using the court as a way to hide access to his address so that way Charla could not serve him for her stuff. And then this is all talking about the case that he dropped and never presented. And this is the evidence. Remember, he was like, oh my God, I have all this evidence, but I'm going to show it in court. That's the evidence. That was it. Some vague inference and accusation.
I've got the biggest failed case.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so the one thing that's in here that I found interesting that it kind of separates our experience with Steve versus the experience that other people are currently having is when we were around Steve, nobody would fucking start a conversation with somebody's estranged family members and say, so your dad and your adopted stepmom or whatever the fuck have an awful like what Nikki initiated when she brought that up and started talking about how like this man must be afraid of Sharla and she's this horrible person and she's ugly, and Veda was like, oh my god, she's ghastly, and Steve being like, oh, it's photoshopped out. These women have initiated that conversation, and Steve takes it and runs with it, relating it back to Katie Joy. Steve would not have done that because that conversation wouldn't fucking exist. Because none of us would have initiated that conversation. I think it's interesting that the entire time, Nikki has been trying to claim, Farron has been trying to claim that she never started anything. She never did anything. She had nothing to do with this when she's the one who initiated that line of fucking thing.
I like, these people are predictable as fuck. Number one. They're predictable as fuck. Sorry. Yeah, like, Steve, where's your evidence? Fucking evidence. I would love to see what evidence he had. Like, he was screaming from the rooftops. You know, evidence. And, why aren't you helping out Erin? She's asking for help on Twitter. Go help her out.
If Robot Stitch can step in here for a second.
Oh, yeah, now it's good.
Now it sounds good.
Yes.
Now it's good? Oh,
yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So, here's the thing. This is one of the reasons I hate this topic so much, as you all know, and how much I decry it in the background. This entire call does not so how do I phrase it? This entire call that we've managed to get a handle on, or our hands on, I guess I should say, does not come across as a conversation between adults, but rather a bunch of teenagers in a high school clique. Is highly immature, highly inappropriate, and a waste of everybody's time.
I don't even want to give high school students this much flack. At least they're like kind of upfront about being like randomly shitty. These people are in the background utilizing the court system to do it. But yeah, you're right.
Like, this is not a group of adults. This is a group of children.
They're very immature. They're very, very immature. It very much comes off as people who are emotionally immature, who are intellectually immature because they can't handle and don't know how to disseminate information in a conducive way, and they don't know when to and when not to take something seriously. Those are like, that's the distinction. Being a goof and making dick jokes doesn't make you immature. What makes you immature is not knowing what to and to not take seriously, how to analyze and adjust criticism and argumentation based around those things. None of these people are capable of doing that.
Nail, meat, hammer.
And Steve will use that as a shield sometimes, like with the previously mentioned, like the Katie Joy harassment thing. You know, in the moment, oh, we were just friends, joking as friends. And it's like, sometimes if you're not that close with somebody as a friend, which he definitely wasn't with Katie Joy, that you can't use that as an explanation, really.
Exactly.
You don't know them.
Yeah.
Well, these people have exploded like off the deep end. Like their logic is left the building. So
as the women around Steve, because I've not seen any males around Steve. Maybe Reds, maybe, but they have
weird, by the way.
they have read on their channels in live streams court documents. They have read those, and they have learned nothing from their from their readings of those court documents. When you get a cease and desist, you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. Now it's not about your freedom of speech. Now it's about whatever comes out of your mouth will be tested and will be weighed, whether it's slander or not, or libel or not.
Whatever you say can and will be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You shut the fuck up. And I kept telling these morons, get a lawyer, get a lawyer. And now we have someone on Twitter, begging for help. Now. So yeah, it's yeah. Yes, take a drink out of shut the fuck up. So yeah, it's like they learned nothing from all their readings that they did of the court documents on their own channels. Right? What in the fart flying fuck, if I might dare say. All right, Rando.
Well, it is also the case that a cease and desist is not a legally binding thing.
Right.
No, it's not.
It's
just
a
part
threat.
of the process.
Yeah, it's a threat.
Yes.
Saying, look, you're doing these things that we could sue you for, according to us.
Yeah.
Please stop. And the thing is, if you don't stop, and it turns out that, yeah, they were right, yeah, it doesn't look favorably for you in the courts. But if you are, in fact, right, like if you are well within your rights to do whatever it is that you're doing that you have a cease and desist for, then, I mean, there's nothing anyone can do about it if you win the court case.
It could be a simple mishearing of like cease and desist as like stream and resist. Like just keep streaming.
Rita in the chat said, I asked for this in another stream, but how did the daughter know Steve? So apparently what had happened, again, take this with a grain of salt, this is just my sussing out of the situation. It seems to be the case that she and or another family member of hers had come across someone's channel and left a comment claiming to be Charla's relation. And then it escalated and went from there. How that person found the stream, I don't know. If that person was sent the stream by one of these people, I don't know. So it's hard to say.
If you listen back to the stream and the stuff that Steve was saying, like he can't even focus specifically on Charla. Like he keeps bringing up people who have wronged him and the things that have done to him. He's stuck in one mind space, and that is he's pissed. Like he's mad and he's emotional, and like I said, the logic has left the building. There's no brain like activity going on. It's just, I'm mad, I'm lashing out, and I'm gonna strike back at everybody who I feel wronged by. And
do you think Steve likes this?
Likes it? I mean, I do think he gets off on some of it because I can tell that he
gets
does.
off on the attention he gets from it.
Yeah,
might you say he's a victim in perpetuity?
Yes. But seriously, like I see a lot of the same kind of thing from like young Earth creationists, where like the scientific community is out to get us. They won't believe our amazing science because it violates their worldview or something. And it's like, no, dude, you're just wrong. And I think that, look, I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to psychoanalyze Steve or anything, but it seems like a lot of similar behaviors. I think he might just like the persecution. I think he might like the validity he feels like he gets from being able to claim to be a victim.
Dapper, he made 12 live streams about this lady on his channel.
Yeah, I honestly think that
24 to 25 hours total.
Yeah, I think that there's a pretty fair chance that Steve just likes feeling like he's persecuted.
I think it's also a bit simpler than that, in a general sense, is that he has main character syndrome when he's just...
Well, yeah, he definitely has that.
I mean, personally, I don't think that he goes after persecution. Like, I don't think that he invites persecution, but I do think he likes it. But I think that when he goes after people, right, that I do agree there. But I do think that when he goes after people, he's expecting just everybody to agree with him. Like when he goes after Charla, I think he was just expecting everybody just to be on board because he was going after Charla. Therefore, Charla must be wrong because he says she is.
What's that fallacy again?
I mean, it would be like a weird version of the genetic fallacy where you believe or disbelieve. Normally, the genetic fallacy is, I don't believe this claim because of where the claim comes from. In this case, it would just be like, I do believe the claim because of where it comes from, which I guess would end up being the same fallacy. It's just a weird version of it.
I mean, you could also say that there's some of the appeal to authority fallacy going on in a weird sense because he appeals to himself as an authority, as a perpetual victim of these kinds of people.
Appeal to ethicality.
Yeah, right. That actually might fit a lot better.
I can see that. He's the authority, and then him being like a narcissist. He's like everybody who tries to fight him. They're like the peasants revolting, and he's like, you know, of course I'm so tragically, you know, like
I'm a good person,
reviled against, even though I'm the good king. Look how nice I am to all my followers. I say such nice things, and I tell people how nice I am, so therefore I'm nice. But, you know, we all know.
Et tu, Brute?
I actually had someone in my audience say to me, "Wait, have I been wrong for decades that it's not Et tu, Brutus? Because I thought it was Et tu, Brutus." And I'm like, nope, it's always been Et tu, Brute because of the vocative case. And apparently that viewer of mine was just mind blown. And I was like, sorry, that's just Latin. I don't know what to tell you. Just not actually related to anything. It just reminded me of the fact that people don't know about the vocative case.
So
here's a blast from the past. You know who else doesn't know about the vocative case? Godless Engineer.
Oh God! Yes, tell us about your Godless Engineer adventures. I was just about to say we're done with Steve, but you just did it naturally. Bless your heart, Dapper.
You're
tell
welcome.
us about Godless Engineer.
All right, so it's a really weird thing. So I was only vaguely aware of the fact that Godless Engineer was like pushing Jesus mythicism, which for those of you who don't know is just the claim that there was no guy, that like when Paul is writing about Jesus, that's not a guy who actually existed. It's a pretty fringe claim. There's basically none of the scholarship of like early Christian history or biblical textual history, whether they're Christian or not, accepts the claim as more likely true than not that there was no guy. It's just everything about the evidence is better explained if there just is a human who was named Jesus of Nazareth or Jesus the son of Joseph or something like that. So it's not really something I talk all that much about. And like my knowledge of like what's, you know, the current consensus in like New Testament textual criticism is not that great. So I scheduled a stream for my show or my channel with Dr. Kip Davis, who while his specialty isn't New Testament studies, he certainly has a better grasp on the consensus of scholars and why it is what it is than I do. For reasons that don't really matter today, it ended up on his channel rather than mine. But the next thing you know, I find that Godless Engineer has scheduled a stream with Richard Carrier, who apparently accepted a fairly hefty speaking fee for this endeavor. Yeah, because apparently Godless Engineer, well, no, not apparently, he said something on Twitter about the fact that like his fans helped fund this Richard Carrier appearance.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, it was just Richard Carrier online, so like the only way that a funding could make sense is if it was a speaking fee. But anyway, the title of the stream is, "Did Dapper Dinosaur and Kip Davis prove the existence of Jesus?" Which is a weird thing to say because I would never claim to have been able to prove the existence of some preacher from the 1st century in what's now like Israel Palestine.
Content. That is not what you don't talk about. Whether that's just not what you talk about. You talk about science. You don't talk about like religious claims.
I'm still stuck on the speaking fee. I'm just stuck on that.
Yeah, Richard Carrier charged GE its speaking fee apparently. I mean, it seems to be what happened. Look, John, if that's not what happened, let me know and I will.
GE's pocket fee.
But so then I was like, well, that's weird, but like, I really feel some big need to respond to that because for one thing, I wasn't really the one making the arguments. Granted, I'm not a mythicist because it's not a very tenable position for lots of reasons, but like whatever. But it was mostly Dr. Kip Davis. And so Kip actually did respond. He watched, I think he's watched now like 4 or 5, don't quote me on that, but a fair few Godless Engineer streams on the topic. And it's just bizarre. And so then recently, Kip Davis put on his community tab for his YouTube channel an explanation of some Greek grammar involving the difference between the Greek phrases adelphoimu and adelphos to kyrio. There you go. The difference being one means my brothers, the other means brother of the Lord. And this is in regard to James the Just, or James the brother of Jesus. And so this engineer basically said, well, that was just a bunch of word salad. But it's like, dude, that's just basic grammatical terminology. If you've taken a single semester of Koine Greek, you will have learned that. If you read the first few chapters of a Greek grammar made for learning biblical Greek, you would have learned all those terms. And yet he's going off about how, well, actually, push up the glasses, adelphoi mu means brothers of me, not my brothers. To which basically all of like the admittedly small, section of like people on Twitter who are like Bible scholars or just language nerds, we're all just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
That sounds like somebody trying to like literally translate something and thinking the literal translation is how people speak.
Well, the thing is, I think what happened is at some point someone told him that if you have a genitive following a noun, then the default way to translate that is noun of genitive thing. And that's true, right? That's a good rule of thumb. But the thing is, there's no other way to say my brothers other than adelphoimu, right? It's not like there's a separate construction for that. And because brothers of me is weird in English because we don't say that, the only proper translation for that is my brothers. When you're translating things, one of your goals is to try to make it sound as natural as possible in the target language while preserving the meaning. And so, yeah, sure, maybe GE learned that rule of thumb for Greek, or maybe Richard Carrier mentioned it or something. But, like, the idea that that's going to be, like, a hill you're going to die on is brothers of me, which is a weird, nonsensical translation. And, like, it's just been bizarre, man. Because, like, look, I don't think anyone's laboring under the delusion that John is one of the great minds of our time. Right? Like, I saw him lose a debate where he was taking the anti-slavery side, and his interlocutor was a black man taking the pro-slavery side.
What?
Oh,
that was classic. That was a classic.
That was on the Non-Sex Show.
That was on Non-Sex Show.
That one. Okay, now I remember.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So like, it's like no one's going to accuse him of this, but it's just such a bizarre thing to do, to pick this weird fight with Kip Davis for who knows what reason, to include me in it when all I did was basically interview Kip, where Kip was gracious enough to host a video on his channel promoting a GoFundMe for me to basically just make up for the fact that YouTube had decided to give my channel a ridiculous misinformation guideline strike for me telling people like, hey, you shouldn't listen to Ken Hovind when he tells you to not get vaccinated and when he tells you to eat fucking poison. And YouTube was like, nope, community guidelines violation. So, I know I said it didn't bear getting into, but here we are. So yeah, it's so bizarre.
How bizarre.
And
it just seems like it's based on like what was the title of it again? Because it was making me think it's to draw in like a certain crowd of atheists that are like that have a weird assumption like mythicism is false, therefore you think, the Bible is literally true, and that's wrong too.
Well, that's not even most Christians' position. Not many Christians would even say that because mythicism is false, therefore the Bible is literally true in everything it says. But also, like...
Oh, I mean, like, it'll draw... he was doing that to draw viewers by...
Oh, yeah, maybe.
In that way.
Well, the thing is, there's a certain group of atheists, certainly not even close to all atheists. This is not me trying to paint with a broad brush. But there's a certain group of atheists for whom the criterion for accepting a claim seems to be, if it's bad for Christianity for the claim to be true, then the claim must be true for that reason.
Yes.
Which is a really, really, really dumb way to go about things. Because the fact is, plenty of things that aren't bad for Christianity are true, and plenty of things that would be bad for Christianity aren't. right? It's like kind of people who like watch the first 15 minutes of Zeitgeist and think that that's actually the God's honest truth. When it's like, dude, Zeitgeist can't even get basic astronomy right. What are you talking
Mithras, December 25th.
Yeah, oh my god. And you know what? I would actually be kind of curious whether or not Godless Engineer believes that Mithras had his birthday celebrated on December 25th, which, by the way, he didn't. And yet, you get all these weird things. And for some reason, John has decided that this is what I'm going to do with my channel. Is I'm going to buy every stupid conspiracy theory that, if true, would be bad for Christianity. And I don't get why, other than that it brings in the dumbest of all of the atheists, which is basically like, you know, the Reddit atheist bros.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
Reddit
used
atheist bros. Okay,
I used to believe stupid conspiracy theories back in my youth, I guess, back in my 20s or teenager years. But I as the internet got better and information got easier to find, I educated myself out of those those states. And but I think that if anybody needs help getting out of any kind of conspiratorial thinking, then I am willing to help anybody out there who still believes that, like, you know, the Twin Towers didn't fall because of
yeah, it's not religious.
planes hitting them or something.
You can be a conspiracy theorist about fucking anything. Like, just look at Steve and all of his fucking friends just sitting around circle jerking, fucking making up conspiracy theories about some fucking random lady that they came across on a fucking random fucking Facebook
I'm
group.
sorry. I thought we moved on from them.
Yeah, listen, fuck off. I refuse. I'm not letting this go. It's dumb as fuck is what I'm getting at.
One of the things about
You forget
conspiracy
I am
theories,
the Blue Goblin.
one of the things about conspiracy theories that really gets me, though, is like it doesn't help your claim seem more plausible. It just now means you have another implausible claim to get evidence for, right? I told this to the flat earther whose name escapes me that I had on my channel, who just wanted to have a chat about flat earth stuff. I was like, all right, well, it's not really what my channel is normally about, but you know what? It's pseudoscientific nonsense, so sure, let's go. And one of the things he did was he was like, well, that's the Antarctic Treaty that's publicly available. I'm like, I'm sorry, do you have the text of a different Antarctic Treaty?
Oh, the Antarctic Treaty stuff. Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
And he's like,
that.
well,
That was
well,
frustrating.
no. Yeah, and so one of the points I made to him is like, look, if you propose to me that there's a conspiracy, that's fine, but now that just means you need to actually back up that there's a conspiracy. And then you still need to make the argument to me that the Earth is flat or that space is big. It doesn't help.
They're just adding
separate.
more like burden of proof.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that people think that this is a good tactic.
I'm gonna chuck this here. No, okay, prove it. Huh?
That is how a lot of extremism works, is that like all of these propositions, like under an umbrella, they're like, if the big proposition is true, therefore all the little ones are. It's like, no.
Well,
If I make enough claims, it'll muddy the waters to the point where I can't see what's true.
Conspiracies aren't a tactic. They're a. My sister believes in shit tons of conspiracies, and I am actually inadvertently I think the one who got her into it.
Oof. And
I regret it because I'm not into any of conspiracies. I kind of go by my rule of thumb is the more boring it is, the probability of its truthfulness goes up. So if it's really exciting, then it's probably not true. So because nothing exciting ever happens, and that's just my rule of thumb, because every conspiracy theory I've ever believed was really exciting. And I think that's what people get out of conspiracy theories, is that it's about excitement. It's about how it's like living in a Jason Bourne movie. It's like you're the main character of a movie like that, and you're gonna be saving the sheeple. It's like, I'm going to be telling you
Yeah.
the truth, and I'm going to be waking you up, and I'm going to be saving your life because I'm the main character of the next Jason Bourne movie. And
doesn't that make it closer to the main character of the next Neil Breen movie?
Save me from the
Sorry if you don't know who Neil Breen is.
I've become.
Chesh, drop me. You can drop me. Don't drop yourself out of the.
I've got 3
You have to get
people
Landon
being like, let me leave. Do you guys just not want to be here? What the fuck?
It's Landon, dude.
I'm
Yeah,
here
but,
under
like,
duress.
Yo, you're good. It's fine. Whatever you
Just-
guys want to do.
Chesh said that if I wasn't here for this, that she would come to the house and kill the dogs.
Oh my god.
Oh, she
Something,
told you that
something,
she was going to
kicking
do that?
puppies.
Depending
Oh,
on
she gave you a
Mr.
warning?
Serious's,
Oh, okay.
Definition of the word boring, you could find like the Aristotelian version of chemistry to be true. If you think the elements are more boring than atomism.
I love
Like the 4
chemistry.
elements or whatever.
I almost went back to college to study it because I loved it so much. So I find it all kind of meh. So for me, it's all meh. But like if somebody started like fusing like chemistry with something else that's like insane, then I would be like, that. There's no way, because that would be,
Oh, that's what I
Yeah.
meant. Is like everything's just made out of like
Talking about
4 or
chemistry.
5 distinct elements, and that's it. Like you could consider that to be more boring, therefore more true.
My father is a retired chemistry professor. I had to be good at it. I'm bragging,
Yeah,
yes.
You might get in trouble if you're not.
Yeah. I'm bragging. Yes, I'm bragging.
Your grandpa like jumps in like, Manya, do this titration now, or you're not getting Christmas presents.
Wait, Christmas presents? They were supposed to be Christmas presents? What?
One thing I want to bring up about conspiracy theories, though, and it's not about the excitement. It kind of goes with the excitement, though. It's the fear. Like, it's the fear of not believing the thing. If they're wrong, or if they're right, then if they don't believe the thing, then it'll get them. So they have to
Fear of
keep
the
their
unknown.
guard up.
of the
Otherwise, it'll
unknown.
get them.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
Can't have that.
How do you think religion has survived so long?
Because it's socially useful.
Yeah.
Because
No,
there's a
I mean, I
giant
was just making
eyeball
the
at the
point that
center.
these people just don't allow themselves to question anything. Also because most
It's
of them
because
are not
it's
really
easy.
capable of introspection, because that's a rare gift, it seems. Or rarer than it should be.
Well, some people also, they find it a bit comfortable. Like there's comfort to them
There's
knowing
also
like
that.
like when people believed that 9/11 was an inside job, it was comfortable for them to believe that the government had so much control over what was going on in the inside of the country, even though they were believing a thing that was so dangerous, like their government had so much control that it could like literally just kill them at any moment. And like, if they were to like let everybody know, like, hey, I know that I'm in on it, government. I know that you're like, mass murdering people, and I'll tell people, like, it could end you, and like that, like at a drop of a hat. Like believing this was still comforting to them because they knew that the people that that ran the country just had everything running like clockwork.
Yeah, there's a sense in which there's people who are, they would rather that there be nefarious, like a horrible conspiracy that's in control, rather than that the universe simply be crazy and chaotic and stupid.
You guys want to know something funny? I'm gonna ask a question. I should probably end the poll. That's still up, isn't it? Turtles was the answer. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and I'm gonna ask a couple of them in succession. So one in the chat, if you think, who is more rich, Batman or Lex Luthor? So one in the chat for Batman, 2 in the chat for Lex Luthor. Who do you think has like net worth?
That's a hard
Sorry, I
question
just
to
like you up
answer.
for a second.
That's not hard for me at all.
I'm
Hold
going
on.
somewhere, I
Doesn't-
promise. I'm going somewhere, and it's going along this conspiratorial line, I promise.
Doesn't it also
So,
depend on which universe we're talking about as well?
Well, standard. It's gonna jump anyway, so 2, Lex Luthor? Okay. So who do you think has more money? Lex Luthor or Doctor Doom? So 3 or 4. Lex Luthor is 3, Doctor Doom is 4.
Do we actually have an answer to this? Like, is there?
Yes, I know the answers.
Oh, okay.
Again, net worth.
I'm going with 3, Lex Luthor still.
Okay. So, who do you think has more money? Batman or Elon Musk? One. And we're gonna call Elon Musk. Batman is still 1. Elon Musk is 5. Do you think Batman has more money, or do you think Elon Musk has more money? Net worth.
Is Chesh lagging the fuck out for anybody else?
I can hear fine.
Yeah, I can. Seems fine to me.
I hope Batman has more. That's a funny
comment. Oh.
All right, Elon. Okay. So who do you think okay, so the answer is Elon Musk. Elon Musk has more money than Batman. Batman has less money than Lex Luthor. Batman has a net worth of $9 billion. All right. So who do you think has more? Lex Luthor or Elon Musk?
Lex Luthor.
Think Lex Luthor? Because Lex Luthor has less than Doctor Doom. Lex Luthor has a net worth of $75 billion. Elon Musk is higher. Okay.
What?
Yep. Wait. I got one more. Who do you think has more? Doctor Doom or Elon Musk? Do you think Doctor Doom has more money or Elon Musk has more net worth?
Is it money or net? Okay.
Net worth.
I think it's okay.
Net worth.
Yeah, because those aren't the same thing.
I think.
Yes.
I think
Dr.
where you're
Doom
going
has
with
more
this now.
worth.
You think Doctor? Okay, listen. Not as a person, on a net worth monetary. Of course, Doctor Doom has more worth.
I know
Dr.
Dr. Doom
the best.
could have more if
Best
he wanted
boy.
more, but
Elon? Okay. So yeah, you're correct. Elon has a higher net worth. The net worth of Doctor Doom, who owns a country and all of the patents in that country, has a net worth of $100 billion. Last question. Who has a higher net worth? Batman, Lex Luthor, and Doctor Doom combined, or Elon Musk?
Elon.
What? Holy shit. Wow.
Project Find the Elon Cave starts.
Does
tonight.
anybody else see where she's going with this? Because I think I do.
I think that Elon was supposed to get more money than that from this payout that he was supposed to get. That it was contested by the.
It was denied. We talked about it not too long ago. Yeah.
Oh my god! And then he's like, "I'm taking my company out of Delaware and moving it to Texas because."
Elon Musk has almost double the net worth of Doctor Doom.
Wow.
He is at like 197.5 or $195.7 billion net worth. So Elon Musk has a higher net worth. Net worth. And that's including the fucking massive loss he took from Twitter and losing all of the fucking Twitter amount.
It was like 40 billion or like
he spent 44 billion, and then there's an estimated like 90% loss when he changed it to X of like brand value.
That was such a stupid decision.
What?
I don't know why, but I got this image of Elon as a like DC superhero, and his animal that he was connected to wasn't a bat; it was a snail. I don't know.
So if you want to talk about like conspiracy theories, Batman runs the Justice League and hosts them, feeds them, teleports them around on a space station that he pays for, and all of his Batman stuff. Lex Luthor tried to be president and was president for a little while, and Doctor Doom owns an entire country. And Elon Musk has a higher net worth than all of them combined. And what's he fucking doing with it?
Ego
he's
projects.
Killing monkeys. Monkeys.
Killing monkeys. That is true. And I cannot believe that
Wow.
what is that stupid ass brain chip company? I cannot believe I heard that name again. I thought it was over. When I heard about all the monkey killing that he was doing, I thought I was never going to hear Neuralink again. And then suddenly I hear it in the news, and the news is like orgasming over it. Oh my God, Neuralink, they're going to put chips in brains. And I'm like, oh my God, people are actually willing to put chips made by this piece of garbage in their brains? Like, how?
All he had to do was host like ElonCon and have all of his like little fans show up and be like, I volunteer as tribute. It's like,
jeez.
3,000 Twitter addicts died yesterday.
This is what's going to happen, is that all Neuralink is going to do is they're going to make chips that make it to where you can post shit on X. And that's as far as it's going to go. And then as soon as like 5 years in the future, they're going to discontinue like your subscription on your chips. And then they're just going to turn them off, and it's going to cause you to have like an infection in where they installed it, and everybody who got them installed is going to die.
I love how the ad for the use cases was like, you can think of a song name and it'll pop up in your head. And then like all the comments were like, oh God, when somebody mentions like Fruity Pebbles, you're going to hear a jingle in your head or something.
That already happens, doesn't it? You do like
it
sing
does,
songs.
but I think he's talking like a little bit
Like
more
literally,
nefarious.
it'll
like
force
it's
it'll
more
think
than
about
your
Pink
brain
Elephants.
rather than your
Can I
It'll force
cheat
your
in
brain to
exams?
consume an ad.
That's what I want to know.
Don't think about kittens.
Huh.
Oh God. Holy moly. That was a good exercise. I like that, Jesh.
You think of an
I
audiobook
think of that.
title.
I looked all this up the other day because I was like last night or something. Because I was like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Because like I knew that Elon Musk had a higher net worth than like Batman, but you hear a lot of people being like, "Oh my God, don't tax the rich," and I'm like, you do realize that he's like crazy, like evil. Billion like insane amount of money. Like I hire all kinds of henchmen to do whatever the fuck I want. Like and I can pay for all their dental. But I'm not like evil. You know?
He's certainly the closest thing actual reality has to a comic book supervillain.
Hey, it's Landon.
Hello.
Hey, Landon.
Oh, hi,
Can you hear
Landon.
me? Hello. How are
Cooking
you doing?
Landon.
Yes,
Making
I am.
food.
I am cooking here. I'm not sure what I'm making because I'm evolving what it has, but I've got some asparagus from the garden and some mushrooms that I've sautéed with a nice white wine sauce. I've done a thing with this is a tuna fish and various sort of condiments. I have a whole thing here of it's pumpkin soup, a little bit of a particular type of a dish called a sofrita, and I put in garlic from the garden and some shallots and other things like that. I'm going to end up. I think what I'm going to do is end up taking this and have this little side dish, and once as a side dish, and that once these asparagus sort of do their thing, I'll then take this and put it in the food processor, and if I don't like the texture, I might blend it. I've had some dairy and so forth. So that's been it's sort of thing I'm supposed to be cooking for the family today. It's my day to cook, and so I just started putting things in the pans and switching around and chopping and onions and
That's
other
a really nice
stuff.
kitchen that you got going on there.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
kindly.
the vibe is nice.
It is currently a little bit kerfuffled around here because you see this thing here. This is a plywood door. Normally the pantry is this way, but we're building what we call a skytrium there. It's going to be a hallway connecting this building called Treehouse to the next building where I live in the garret, and in that skytrium, which will have a lot of skylights, and looking north towards Canada. Thank you, Canada. The we're going to have a thing called Cafe Law. It's going to be an espresso machine, a barista class espresso machine, and wet bar, and other sorts of things in there. Ultimately, to be able to wake up, dress, put on nice warm socks, walk down from the garret, and make myself a decent cup of espresso. But right now, there's a whole bunch of there's pits where they've dug stuff up and tire tracks all over the place. It looks kind of kerfuffled at the moment. But they say that they're going to be done by August. I think it would be September, October.
Can I borrow it?
Oh yeah, I can come up and enjoy. Right now, I am staying in the guest bedroom here because my place is being all torn up and so forth. But that's the way it goes. This is what it is. So I got to decide when these asparagus are done, and then add it to the list of oh yes, pumpkin from the garden, sarita, a bunch of garlic, shallots, some interesting spices, and then I'm going to see what happens. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever had asparagus and pumpkin together.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun thing. I think the texture is going to be the most important part of this. Now, with regards to your
asparagus,
previous...
not too soft but not too crunchy. I'm making barbecued chicken and onion with garlic tonight later once I'm off of this, so it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Although the other thing about asparagus, if you go to seed, the flowers are quite nice because you can put them in salads and you get sort of asparagus tasting flowers. So you don't have to always cut them off when they're the tender shoots. But and in regards to your previous conversation,
Chet's losing it about the asparagus and that like I have burnt bacon for breakfast. Everybody's hungry, and Red Eye says it needs more Vegemite.
Okay, yes, actually, he is correct. I was looking for that umami thing.
It's gonna add some MSG.
I was thinking so maybe the chat could help me out. So I have Vegemite, Ausimite, and Promite.
No Marmite?
So I don't do that.
So
I don't
you
use
label them
stuff
1,
from
2,
the
or
former
3,
United
Landon,
Kingdom.
for the chat
No.
for the chat to know. You got to label them 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
I mean, you could make a poll too.
So
you don't
if
have to be numbers.
Type 1 for Vegemite. Type
lost
2
res.
for Ausimite.
Yeah, does res
and type 3 for Promite. And whatever you use,
Res
whatever
got offended
wins.
by the Vegemite.
What's the best? Using?
No,
I
don't use Marmite. I'm not a fan of it.
He's not a savage.
3?
It's
3?
like concentrated yeast paste type of stuff.
Yeah,
basically.
Athens says 4 for All Might, but okay.
And there are other things I do. I do have a Blend 17 jar, but that's for special occasions. This is for cooking, right? I want to show you just to prove. Special edition, Blend 17, rare as hen's teeth, probably the best of the mites ever.
Yeah, I've heard of people adding like yeast flakes to like sauteed veggies and stuff like that to add some more flavor. So I think it's totally valid. It's like adding sauce.
So what is the consensus from the chat? 1 is Vegemite.
3
2
is
Ausimite. 3 is
the
Promite.
most popular. 3 is your number.
Now, I will say I concur. I think that of the things, I think that the Promite, it's a little less salty, has a little more burst of flavor. So
is that Tony Designs in the chat?
So there it is, Promite. There, and I believe, if I am correct, this is a product of Australia. vegetable protein extract, sugar, yeast extract, onion, holes of fire, blah blah blah. Good stuff.
Which one was Tony Designs? Did you say?
So this is Probite.
Titan.
So
Say again.
I don't know if it is. I'm not sure. It might be somebody with a similar name.
Okay. I gotta be careful here for stuff. So with regards to the previous conversation, you were referring to the assumed net worth of the man with poor impulse control.
Yeah. I just Googled it. I didn't actually go digging to verify it or anything like that. It was just a rough estimate. I didn't do the calculations myself to see how much money Dr. Doom actually had.
But this is assuming that Tesla stock is worth much. I would pay probably about, last time I did a valuation, about $13 a share. It's currently trading for 182. So they don't want to sell it to me. I don't want to buy it. And so 2 divided by 13. So I believe that the real net worth of Elon Musk is about 7% of his current thing, and that I don't think that Tesla stock is worth much. I wouldn't recommend paying much for it. This is not financial advice. It's just my opinion.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Poor Impulse Control himself has said that the stock of Tesla is overinflated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Well, I think it's grossly overinflated, and that you basically. So what is current? What are they saying that Mr. Poor Impulse Control's current net worth is?
The current net worth he's stated as on Google is 197 or 95.547. So just under 200 billion.
Okay, so I would rate his true value net worth to be around 12 billion. And I think that because I don't think Tesla is worth that much. I think it is over. I think it has been tulip mania hyped. I think that the company has fundamental problems, and I don't think people should pay much for it. I don't think he has anything left in that Twitter or whatever he wants to call it these days, and so I regard him as his net worth is being yeah.
So actually, that brings up a good question. What does everyone think is actually going to end up happening with Twitter, right? Because Twitter was never making much money, and it has to be hemorrhaging money at this point, right? Because they've lost most of their advertisers. It looks like everyone who signs up for the $8 subscription is possibly costing more than $8 in terms of just not viewing ads. Plus, there's some of them are actually getting paid money instead of just paying money. Everything about it seems to be absolutely bonkers. So what do people think? How long do you think it can last? Do you think Musk will end up selling it for a loss? Do you think it'll end up just collapsing?
I think that this is my prediction, and it's actually kind of specific. I think he'll sell it to the people he bought it from.
You think they're going to buy?
Yeah, I think that they'll want it for very specific things, but not so much because they can't get the name back or anything. But it's like the real estate, and the
real estate.
Yeah, actually. Well, does it have real estate or does it rent? Because I thought his office leases are also.
He's currently. I get wrong. Trump is currently in trouble for not paying the rent on the Twitter offices, so I don't think they own any real estate.
You mean Elon Musk, not Trump?
I thought he owned the building that he put the X on top of.
No, he pays rent. Well, he's supposed to pay rent on that. He doesn't actually pay rent on that.
then why did he have the ability to jam or change the architecture of it?
Oh, that's the fun thing. He didn't. He just did it anyway.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he did it without approval.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and so you know, if he manages to convince the Tesla shareholders, because it would require a vote,
and broken.
that he moves, you know, he moves the incorporation out of Delaware, which is quite favorable, to Texas because he's mad at a Delaware ruling. And I don't know if the shareholders will go along with it, but let's assume they go along with it because of the cult of personality. And then he's going to have problems with Texas. Texas will have problems with him, and maybe the state government and him deserve each other. I don't know with the case of after the American election and inauguration. I think that Putin will be less interested in funding bots to spread disinformation. But like I said, take my advice. Don't be a Tesla.
So
don't buy Tesla
I would
stock.
bet.
Don't use Tesla. Don't use Twitter or whatever they call it.
I would suspect that if we're guesstimating on what we think is going to happen to Twitter, I think what's going to happen is one of like three things, and it's mostly like just a nuance between like how it goes down. He will lose Twitter, but he's going to lose Twitter to either the government, right? Being like, you owe so much money from all your lawsuits, just give Twitter to us, and the government takes it over, which maybe. Or he's gonna take it, he's gonna lose it as a loss, and the government is gonna be like, okay, tell you what, you buy this, and we're gonna give you a subsidy because there is too much public information that Twitter uses, that Twitter disseminates, that we rely on Twitter to put out.
I've also been roasting pumpkin seeds.
So that would be like, for example, like the Weather Network and emergency services that all utilize Twitter's sort of like what Twitter needs to do.
Did you hear about Twitter failing Japan when they had their earthquake?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Well, one thing I think that you're talking about the failure, Josh, that is there is maybe not the government, but because Elon Musk did not have that much cash, right? He's got paper value, but not real value. He had to borrow up to about half of the money to buy Twitter. He has a number of creditors, including foreign governments, that would like protect their investment. And probably the case that they might come and say to him, hey, knock it off. We want to at least get some pennies out of the dollars out of our loan. So, and they might, transform it. I don't think that they liquidate it. I think they would probably turn it into the next Yahoo or Axe Jeeves. It's one of those things like, does that still exist? Answer is yes.
Red Eye in the chat says, spicy take, what if I said I always thought Twitter was fucking hot garbage in the midday sun? It's cute that you think that's spicy, my dude. That's bland as fuck.
On the other hand, though, although I agree with what Landon's saying, the issue isn't whether or not, like, Twitter is a good platform or not. The issue is that there are too many public services that utilize it and it disseminates information too well, and nothing is going to be able to replace it. Not without copying it directly, which is also fine, I guess, if that's what they do. But you still have to get people on board with using it, and it's way easier to move people on a platform they're already using than it is to move them off of a platform that they've already got. Right? So like POTUS uses it, the climate change thing uses it, the emergency services uses it to be like, oh, there's a missing child, etc., etc., etc. Right?
And Vladimir Putin's sycophants, they use it too. It is a. You're right, Chesh. It is. There's a number of services that would like it to go, and given I've heard things were between 45 and 55% of the money that was used to buy Twitter came in loans. I don't know that Musk has, because of the ruling, has even had the cash or the interest in paying back people. So they may end up saying, hey, we're going to take over because we want to keep it, because we want to get some value out of it. And it could be things like you've talked about that end up going forward.
It could very well be the Saudi Arabian government or barons that take it over. It could very well be, but somebody's going to take it over from him.
That would be very, like a big breath, or what do you call it? A relief for him if that was to happen.
Maybe.
Which makes me not want that to happen.
Here's the other thing about Saudi royals. They have a pretty well documented history of just assassinated people who crossed them.
You see, that's more along the lines of something that, like, I want to see, like, I want to see him in, like, one of his, like, original style, like, Cybertrucks, like, flipped over on the side of the road, like, on fire, and then they can't use the jaws of life to get him out because they can't cut through the Cybertruck, because...
That would be ironic. If the Cybertruck wasn't a piece of garbage, that could probably quite easily be cut through.
Well, it can be cut through now, because he had to thin out the metal so much in order to make it, what's the word? Legal to sell in a lot of countries. And make it to where it wouldn't, like, run out of battery power in, like, 10 minutes. And so it's not bulletproof anymore, even though he never took back that, like, promise. He never said it wasn't. I'm hoping people aren't trying to shoot it, because bullets will go through it. So yeah, the Jaws of Life will go through it now, but I want him in one of the originals, because the Jaws of Life won't go through one of the originals.
The issue, I mean, I know that, for example, they have now announced that they're not going to sell any of the vehicles that use essentially right-hand drive. There was, I think, both Australia, government of Australia, and Japan almost simultaneously said Cybertruck in concept is not street legal, cannot be used in normal street traffic. And so Mr. Porren's controlled response was, well, fine, we're just going to be left-hand drive only.
I thought a lot of countries, or the countries that after they made it safer on the inside, I thought the countries that were made it illegal after that, this was my impression, but I wasn't 100%. I thought the countries that made it illegal after that were making it illegal because it was still so unsafe on the outside. Which, I mean, like, if it hits somebody at, like, 20 miles an hour, it's basically like hitting somebody with a guillotine. So they, like, basically get cut in half, and basically nobody can survive being hit by this thing at its slowest speeds. So it's so freaking unsafe on the road that, like, why would anybody allow their population to have this on their highways or roads at all?
Because of freedom? It sounds like you just hate America and freedom.
I do hate freedom.
Okay, fair enough.
I know that the case of that the Japanese regulators were concerned about the inside. That's also a thing that the EU is currently reviewing again the matter, but it's the passenger safety that it doesn't meet standards of. And Japan has said no, that this is an unsafe vehicle to ride in. I know about there's other things that are going on the outside, but that's one of those heads. But like I said, it's a Tesla, and take my advice, and it would apply to your first conversation. Don't be a Tesla.
And also, ironically, when they thinned out the metal because of the fact that the Jaws of Life couldn't cut through it, they made the front sharper, so it can, like, guillotine people that it hits a lot easier.
Oh, good.
So there has been, I've seen in the news, a current fad, if you will, of news organizations promoting articles where people express their opinion that electric vehicles in general are unsafe and so forth. I wonder what we're seeing is the typical trend of, the thesis was electric cars good, early adopters, and we're seeing the antithesis of essentially the all the things that are wrong and bad about electric cars. And we'll go through that valley of every accident and every bad report turns into a news item until I guess enough people come on board and they become normal, but we'll have to see on how that goes. There certainly are problems in the industry going on. What do you think about the news coverage regarding electric vehicles in general?
Honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot, but then again, I don't seek out news about electric vehicles, so maybe I wouldn't have.
The news coverage here has been very lacking. They covered Tesla regarding their safety standards, like when finally, they were like, oh, some recalls happened. Why did some recalls happen? Oh, software stuff. Like, no, we're not going to talk about it. But, maybe while you're driving, it might aim at somebody riding their bike on the side of the road. They didn't say that, but, that's what was happening. It's like, come on now. It's like, you're the news. Like, you report on horrific things all the time. Like, if somebody gets shot up the road, I hear about it every day. Like, in poor neighborhoods, I get to hear about how dangerous poor neighborhoods all the time. But when Mr. Millionaire's, randomly killing people on the road all over America, it's got to be sugar-coated and soft-coated as much as humanly possible so nobody knows about it.
All right, but is that reporting on EVs, or is that reporting on Musk's failed attempt to make an autopilot?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you put Musk's shitty quote-unquote autopilot in a diesel or a gasoline vehicle, it's not going to do any better. Whereas if you are in manual control of your Tesla, I don't think it's going to veer towards a pedestrian or a bike rider.
You know what's hilarious is that China bootlegged.
You didn't say it right. China.
They bootlegged Musk's Tesla's AI and put it in their cars, and they have the same problem. So,
you don't say.
I have a question, actually, when you're done.
Oh yeah, go ahead. That's basically.
So I was curious about what you guys think about the responsibility of the consumer, the people who are buying Teslas when they it's factual that they're dangerous for pedestrians and children and people and other cars on the road. What job do you as a consumer, what responsibility you as a consumer have for buying and purchasing and utilizing such a product?
Well, I mean, one thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What you want to do is make sure you install a really bassy stereo and play as loud as you can. Move, bitch! Get out the way!
I have money. I'm rich. Your plebeian lives don't mean anything to me. Blah.
By the way, on these news articles I'm talking about where they're talking about faults of electric vehicles, I'm not discounting them. It could be a current fad where every problem gets accentuated. It's also it doesn't help the fact that Tesla is a poorly engineered vehicle.
Yeah,
it is a really poor copy, and so that has sort of distorted the market. And part of the reason why I don't yet own an electric vehicle is I'm waiting for the Tesla distortion. Tesla distorted by convincing people that it's okay to spend $100,000 on a bunch of batteries and motors on a wheel.
Look at the Cybertruck. It has no truck. It's got filled in the entire back end with battery area. You can't fit anything in the back.
But the font of the name, that's where it's at. You see.
Okay, look.
You got to be serious about the font of the name Cybertruck.
No, if you're buying anything made by Elon, you can't be serious because look. Well, you can't be me because you wouldn't do that anyway. But the thing is that Elon, when it comes to anything Elon makes, this is the category of the things that goes through Elon's mind. First off, does this feed my ego? That's the first checkbox. And nothing else comes first. So is it safe? You know, does this feed solve some kind of?
But what's the responsibility of the people who are buying and hyping up this?
So
okay,
I have a thing on that.
I have kind of an answer to that too. Go ahead,
Sure.
Dapper.
So there's two things, right? On the one hand, it comes with warnings saying that you need to be alert and have your hands on the wheel the whole time. And for that reason, I don't think that we should excuse people who use his shitty AI driving assistant from liability. If they are using it and they cause injury because they don't have their hands on the wheels, that is on them. However, I also don't think that we should release Musk from responsibility because he's advertising it as autopilot.
Right.
When people hear autopilot, they think they can set it. And just like in an airplane, you could go take a piss and come back 5 minutes later, and it's going to be just fine. But
I'm not saying this to say that Elon Musk is not worth to be held responsible.
Yeah, so basically, I think they should
in addition to
share more or less equal responsibility. Because on the one hand, if you are so dumb as to think that Elon Musk's autopilot is actually going to get you where you're going without your input, and it's actually safe to just not pay attention, like go read a book or something, you're being grossly negligent, and you're endangering the lives of others. But Musk is basically defrauding people.
Dapper, you've raised a good point. You know, when I'm driving and see a Tesla, I try to give it, a wide berth, not because I think someone's going to sit there and be reading a newspaper while driving it. It's not that good. It's that those sort of systems lull a driver into complacency.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they feel as if they can not pay attention, and disaster follows. Go ahead.
So the thing also is, like, for example, in the cars, it's our responsibility to maintain the tires, right? Responsibility to make sure that the engine's working within a certain, parameters, right? So you need to make sure that the vehicle is roadworthy. So I think so. If you're going to use AI for your vehicles, there should be some parameters set for making sure that these AI are also, in a way, maybe certified, or they passed a certain test so many times, so that this car is okay for the road, or for this particular program is okay for the road, and that should be legal. If the AI hasn't gone through that level of testing, it shouldn't be on the road. It should be just like the cars are not going to come on the road till your testing is complete and your AI is efficient enough for passing the standards required for safety on the road. So, yeah.
I'm busting. All right, here's the problem. Here's the problem with Tesla. They make everybody who buys a Tesla sign an NDA.
Oh, God.
And if you want that car to get repaired, then you have to plead. You have to take a full liability. So even if the AI crashes your car, if you want to ever get in that car again and be on the road, it's your fault, and you have to say as much. And that's why the AI never takes fault or anything, because you've signed the NDA and you have to bite it. And the battery in your car exploded? Oh, well, is the car repairable at all? Well, guess whose fault that is? Yours.
Excellent point, Mr. Sears. And if I add as well, one of the things that Tesla is notorious for is not complying with state transportation boards, queries, nor keeping up with, for example, the current reported problems. A number of car manufacturers who understand liability are hyper active in reporting the smallest thing, because reporting helps minimize, it allows you to correct something, but also helps minimize your liability because you're trying to be proactive. When I looked at, because for me in buying a vehicle, the cost of ownership is key. If it gives me the car for free, it's the cost of ownership that I care about. And so to do something, when I was looking at the Tesla 3 a number of years ago, what I wasn't finding was adequate data that told me about the reliability, because there are a number of states that would just simply say, we don't have information. You look at something like these magazines that, I'm not talking about online reviews, but magazines that look at the trend of the car, and they say we can't evaluate it because Tesla is not forthcoming with their information. The hiding of that, I think, is a key thing. There are electric vehicles being made by companies that make cars, have a long track record of making cars, and those would be something I would look at more than somebody who's pour and fills control, take some batteries, stick a motor on it, and call it a car. So I think the electric market is maturing, and I think as well the news reports about every sort of bad thing happening trend in electric vehicles is part of sort of the antithesis of stuff. For me, I probably will not start looking for an electric vehicle until at least 2026. And I usually take about 18 months to 2 years to make a decision. So I'm hopeful the trends are there.
Landon's an elf.
Real companies.
He does
real
nothing in quick time. He's just like, nah. We're slow to change, but but when we do.
But I think the trends are positive.
Landon is Heimerdinger.
If you avoid stuff. Well, I learned early on how deadly new car vehicles are to your ability to retire. And I look at saying, well, that instead of making a car last, if I was going every 3 years, I want a new brand new car, I wouldn't be retired today. I'd spend a lot of money on stuff. So instead, even the almost it's like the initial purchase price, unless it's insane like a Maserati, that the initial price is not as relevant as the cost of ownership over the years, and so car manufacturers are getting into it. People who understand how to build a car and maintain a car that have a good track record are getting into the EV stuff. I want to see several years worth of effort on their behalf before I jump in.
And I mean, that seems fair.
When I was working in Silicon Valley, and I saw Tesla showing up in the parking lot. And in fact, I even considering putting down a deposit on a Tesla 3. And then I started noticing things. And one of the problems that people had was there's a lot of duct tape added to Teslas when it rained. It usually didn't rain in California, but when it did, there were people taping up. And my notion was like, well, why don't you just take down the dealership and get it fixed? And said, well, we can't get parts. I'm on a multi-month mailing list, right? Tesla to boost their stock gets new car sales and the parts things for the poor ones that
worse
overbought
than
it.
Apple. This is worse than Apple's policies. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh God. Oh,
so look. Don't count out the electric car market. Look for companies that have a long track record of understanding how to make a vehicle, and consider that for the.
I think so. What will end up happening is if Tesla is not going to repair your cars, there will be people who will figure this shit out, and they will be like, "Bring it."
No. Tesla's doing something completely different. Tesla is being like, everyone is too stupid to understand how a battery works. Therefore, nobody's allowed to fix their shit at all. You're so looking at, there's a guy who's just like, Ross. He talks about like right to repair stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Rossman.
Yeah.
He talks about right to repair stuff all the time, and Tesla is worse than Apple.
Yes, exactly. That's where I was going.
Yeah. It's like not only will they not let anybody fix their stuff, but if you even try, it's just like fucking garbage. It's complete garbage.
Whatever happens after that, it's not their responsibility.
They'll turn it off. They have so much like access to just like fucking with your car.
Yeah, I was like, no,
it's
thank
terrible.
you very much. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. So, but
they're a bad company.
What might happen is that a black market might spring up, where people have, figured out.
People are doing it anyway, yeah, and then they're like just
AI and the AI stop the interference of the AI or the Tesla, and how to make repairs on any physical damage to the, to the physical structure of it, and even make it stronger. I'm not going to be surprised if if a black market springs up around this, and then Elon cannot do anything about it. He cannot do anything about it. If people find a way to isolate the AI in the car from the Teslas, whatever the fucking what do you say? central, whatever the thing is. Yeah, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go to the wine cellar to get the wine for the evening. Keep talking, I'll hear you, but I've got to get the wine and start decanting.
Rose in the chat said
Because
one of
my
my
family's expecting
dearest-
me to make dinner.
one of my dearest friends is a former engineer from NASA, and he bought a Tesla and they got rid of it right quick. Yeah, people who know what they're doing aren't really terribly interested in that's one of the good ways to see if a new technology is viable or not, or where it's at in the market, is look at the people who work in the market but maybe not maybe tertiarily, or work in that market but in a different area of the market, and see if they're buying into whatever the thing that's being promoted is.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that not very many people in the market that Elon Musk works in are buying any of Elon Musk's shit.
Perfect example I'll bring up. I always bring it up. Theranos and Elizabeth Jones.
Oh, damn it, every time. You really do bring this up every time.
Yeah,
There's a lot of similarity.
Because
She's not wrong.
they were the employees who were whistleblowers. They were the one. They're like, I don't buy this shit. What the fuck? This doesn't work. So yeah, Elon might want to start thinking about this. He might end up having some whistleblowers amongst his workers, and he would not be able to do anything about it.
So actually, that brings up I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that actually brings up a really good question, though. So ultimately, Elizabeth Holmes was convicted for basically misleading shareholders and business partners and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk has been misleading shareholders and business partners for even longer than she has.
Yeah.
Why isn't he currently in prison?
Well, you could argue that the Delaware ruling was extraordinary. Delaware is a state that is founded, their corporate policy is founded on being corporately friendly. That's why so many corporations incorporate in Delaware. And the Delaware judges said, no, the Tesla shareholders are mad, have a right. You didn't, for example, the judge ruled that the Tesla didn't actually tell the shareholders that the people that suggested the payout to Musk were actually quite associated with Musk and perhaps should even benefit from that payout.
Oh yes, I heard about that. Yep.
And that they didn't. There's a number of other things I'll let you see in the financial stuff. But when a Delaware corporation loses in Delaware court because they said your practices, you didn't even disclose this properly to the shareholders. When that happens in a Delaware state, corporated state, you screwed up. And so this is why Tesla wants to try to pull it to the state of Texas.
I will tell you why he's not in jail yet. I'll tell you.
Okay.
There are not many significant shareholders third companies, if I might say, third party companies. Theranos has started doing that. They had started going out to customers from other big companies, pharmaceutical companies, and started pushing their product towards them. Walgreens was one of them. So when other big corporations will start losing money, that's when the fucking problem will get. Yeah. So that's when it will really come under the radar of whatever regulatory body is supposed to look after it. So yeah, that's what. Yeah.
There's a whole other angle of this too, right? Where Elon is screwed in every single thing that he's been working on recently, right?
Yeah.
He's screwed in Twitter when it comes to labor laws and when it comes to paying rent. Because somebody's rich when they can't pay fucking rent, right? He's screwed when it comes to SpaceX, because the way SpaceX made money was from the government. And what did he do with that money? He used it to send his own satellites into space to make fucking Starlink, which is failing miserably and pissing off astronomers.
If Red Eye is watching, I want to show you how a cork sniffer does it. Normally you don't sniff it. You don't normally sniff a cork, but for Red Eye's purposes, because he accused me of being a bloody cork sniffer.
And then on top of it, you have all of the issues around, like, because the other thing that you do when you're rich is you take government handouts, right?
Oh,
and
yes.
then use it on things that you're not supposed to be using it on, right? Like your own personal endeavors, like Starlink. Go figure.
Yeah.
So, like, he's got all of the staple, oh, you're not really rich, you're actually a poor bastard that nobody fucking likes.
Would you say that Elon Musk is actually the welfare queen that the 80s Republicans warned us about?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Absolutely.
And then
it's
bitches when he
every
tries to
single
get
thing.
taxed.
The problem is that he hasn't pissed off the right people yet.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there. He will get there. But the thing is that I'm just worried, like how many people might lose their lives before it gets there. That's the worry.
It's already a positive number, right? So like.
Yeah. It is. How many people is enough for like
Oh, it's because it's not about that. It's never been about that. It doesn't matter how many people lose their lives. It matters about how much money is lost by people who have enough money to give a shit to do anything about it.
Yeah.
They don't care. None of these people give two shits about human life. That's never been the question.
It's
money
ego.
has always been the mover. It's always been the shaker. It's always been the bottom line.
So the wine of the evening is a Costa Brown Bootlegger's Hill Russian River Valley Pinot Noir, 2018. This is rare as hen's teeth, but it is so good. I went and did the little squirty thingy here for the decanter so I can accelerate its the organic chemistry of all those wonderful oils and so forth.
Landon?
So when it's ready. Guess?
Fun fact, you can actually, by making a very minor genetic edit, induce chicken embryos to grow teeth, but they don't have enamel because their enamel gene is broken.
Huh. Well, what would Kent Hovind say about that?
That's a great question. I guess he would just say
Next
that. Well,
question:
I mean,
who cares what Kent Hovind has to say about anything?
It's a source of amusement of things, but
that's fair.
Unfortunately, Dapper cares way too much. It's kind of the problem.
I don't think he does.
Oh no, it is a thing. By the way, the interview you had with Kent, where you asked him if he understood what a dinosaur is.
Yes.
We really are throwing it back today.
But
It's the I'm a throwing it back paladin.
Could you summarize his response?
Yes, he said, well, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess I would have to think about that. Look into it. And the great thing about that is that this is a man who has called himself Dr. Dino, short for dinosaur, for decades. Longer than many of the people
Brilliant.
in the audience and maybe some of the people on the panel. I think, yeah, definitely some of the people on the panel have been alive. He's been calling himself Dr. Dinosaur and calling himself an expert on, quote, dinosaurs and the Bible.
Yeah.
Now, he never bothered to find out what a dinosaur is. And also, he repeatedly says that the author of the book, the Timothy, that was first and second? I don't remember. You know what? There's been too much rum. I can't remember. Anyway, his claim is that Timothy, the addressee of the book in the Bible, Timothy, was the author of that book. But in fact, as I just said, he's the addressee.
But the text says it's a letter to Timothy. Why would Timothy write to himself?
He wouldn't. I've never heard of anyone other than Kent who thinks that Timothy is the author of the letter to Timothy.
I don't believe Timothy was BCCing himself to create a
I mean,
I don't.
I will say,
maybe BCC.
Given Kent's theology, he should be saying that Paul wrote Timothy. Now, Paul didn't write Timothy. That's almost certain. There was, in fact, a Paul. There's an author who's consistently behind more of the Pauline works than any other people, and he's generally referred to as Paul. And we know that some of his works that are attributed to him go back well into deep into the first century. You know, we're talking like maybe 50 AD. The author of Timothy is not that guy. But according to Kent's own theology, if he's going to call himself an expert in the Bible, he should say that Paul wrote that because it's addressed from Paul to Timothy. So I would accept it if he said, Paul wrote it to Timothy. And he usually makes this point when he's talking about things like
I'm almost ready.
Like abortion or something. For some reason. Because not abortion, was it? Things like fornication and adultery and things like that, right? Because his point
you could someone can start setting the table for 2 things if you want to get for dinner. Sorry.
So
sorry.
His point is supposed to be that, hey, the circumstances of your birth might be unfortunate, but that's okay because you don't have to be defined by the circumstances of your birth. And to be fair,
you two right now.
To be
the
fair,
circumstances of one's birth does not determine their value. It's what you do with a life. That's Mewtwo.
Yeah, it's the point that Kent is trying to make. And to be fair to Kent, I agree with the point, right?
It's a
you
good
should
point.
not, but yeah. And it's one of the few places where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Kent has a good point there. But he makes it in the dumbest way possible, which I'm always baffled by. And yeah, if you watch my channel, at the start of basically every single video, I do have an audio clip of Kent admitting to not knowing what a dinosaur is because it was just so amazing that he just came out and said, yeah, never looked into that. I don't know.
It is amazing.
I just don't, that kind of broke me a little bit because I was just like, I don't know how to process
Where do you go from here? Where do you go from getting You can't get any better than Dr. Dino admitting he doesn't know what a dinosaur is. Where do you go?
It would be the same as if I interviewed I don't know. Well, actually, I mean, I've interviewed say Dr. Josh Bowen, right? He's a sumerologist. And if I said, okay, so
what the fuck is that?
Someone who studies Sumeria and Sumerian things.
I was thinking of sumo wrestling.
No.
Oh God.
Okay.
That's a
sumo
wrong,
but I was I didn't know what it was.
Sumerius is a sumo arist.
Yeah. So, but if I were to say, okay, so, you study ancient Sumerian writing. So how does a clay tablet work? What do you do? How do you make marks in it, and how do you get it to be preserved? And he was like, a clay tablet? Never heard of it. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, a stylist? Don't know what that is. It's like, dude, that's your entire job, right? It's or maybe the HVAC guy comes to repair your air conditioning, and he's like, a compression pump? Nope, not aware of what that is. I'd have to look that one up.
Before I go to serve dinner, the wine, which is a 2018, is actually really good. I got a 4.8 out of 5, and it's notes of raspberry and cinnamon and strawberry. There's also rhubarb and sarsaparilla on it as well, which makes it really quite intriguing. So we'll have the wine. We'll have this wonderful soup, which contains squash, asparagus, and other things there. We have, of course, the yummy bits with that had tuna and spices and umami stuff, including the mite. So I will move out there and come back later to listen to the rest of this stuff. But dinner is calling because I made it, and I just wish you all the best. Thank you very much for this rum and coke, even though I had a Negroni during the time, not rum and coke, but
that's okay.
Cooking with Landon.
Thanks, Landon.
Have a good night, Landon.
Ciao to you all. Thanks, bye.
Rose was kind enough to gift 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Rose. I greatly appreciate it.
I'm just wondering how long it's going to be before Kent Hovind gets popular enough that he ends up featured in a South Park episode.
His popularity is waning, so I don't think it's going to happen.
Aww.
So the thing is, he's had so many scandals that at this point, he actually has complained openly about not getting speaking engagements anymore. Yeah, so no one wants him to go talk at their churches. The only relevance that he has at this point is basically appearing on YouTube channels, which is now harder because he lost his Dr. Dino official channel as a result of numerous community guideline strikes that were actually reasonable. because he's been telling people to do things like not get vaccinated or to eat poison. The kind of thing that normally you shouldn't tell people to do. Yeah. So he's got this whole thing where he's bought into this pseudo medicine thing called vitamin B17, which is not a real thing. There's no such thing as vitamin B17. When it's
There's B12, but B17. Huh?
Yeah, B17, which is not a real vitamin. It is in fact a chemical that goes by two common names, Laetrile or amygdalin. And the fun thing is that when your body digests Laetrile or amygdalin, the first thing your body produces after metabolizing that or during the metabolic process is this little chemical you might have heard of called hydrogen cyanide. And so people who take large quantities of this chemical, which is usually ingested in the form of plant seeds, symptoms of cyanide poisoning. And this is for YouTube, who's definitely listening with robots. YouTube, I am explaining why this is wrong and people shouldn't follow this advice because it's not true that this is how this works. I am recommending against the medical.
It's wrong.
Yes. I know YouTube is listening, so I'm just trying to preempt that. Anyway, so the theory behind this is that you don't normally digest amygdalin. Instead, there are certain enzymes that are required to digest amygdalin, which is, I guess that's technically true, but that only cancer cells make these enzymes. And therefore, what actually happens is that your normal cells they just won't interact with the amygdalin. But the cancer cells will take it in, turn it to hydrogen cyanide, and it will therefore preferentially kill cancer cells. Now, amygdalin was studied for cancer treatment, and it was found to kill cancer in a laboratory, but in the same way that a flamethrower kills cancer in a laboratory. Because it turns out that, no, there are no special enzymes that only cancer cells make that digest amygdalin, and that otherwise your cells can't digest it. All your cells can digest amygdalin. All of them will produce hydrogen cyanide, and all of them will therefore have their cellular respiration interrupted because that's what cyanide does. So if you eat large quantities of amygdalin, you will die. And Kent Hovind is out there recommending that people eat things like apricot seeds, which are high in amygdalin, and incredibly bitter because they're high in amygdalin. It has an intensely bitter flavor. And yeah, he's out there just promoting it.
It's like swallowing a glass of hydrochloric acid to kill the spider you accidentally swallowed.
It'll work. It'll work. It's just that it'll also kill you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. And like I said, it kills cancer in the same way that a flamethrower does, right? Like, yeah, sure, if you flamethrower the person, if you douse the person in flame who has cancer, they won't have cancer anymore. That's fair. Not sure that's really a recommended treatment, though, because, normally you want the person to survive the cancer treatment, but what do I know?
Look, all I know is that I've gotten every COVID vaccine so far, and now I test positive for being autistic.
Hey, yeah. I mean,
I did not see that coming, man.
It's hard to argue with that kind of correlation implying causation.
We should do a conversation about vaccines stuff.
Also, actually, I just recently heard from Cindy Lincoln, who, for those of you who don't know, is the common law wife of Kent Hovind, who he was convicted of abusing. And I didn't get an update on her case against him. Look, his defense team is doing what defense teams do in that they are trying to delay it as much as possible. And look, I get it. That's what defense teams do. They're paid to give you the best chance of being acquitted, and I'm not going to blame them for that. It's what they should be doing. Everyone is entitled to a zealous defense, so whatever. It's frustrating, but I can't say that they're wrong for doing it because it's their job, and it's a valuable job. We need defense attorneys because people are wrongfully convicted all the time. Anyway, But interestingly, she did let me know that she has recommenced watching the series that I made, responding to her tour of the Science Center over at Dinosaur Adventureland. And I find it somewhat amusing because apparently the thing that made her stop watching in the first place was at one point I pointed out that the Comma Johannium, which is a verse that is in...
That's what she did to stop watching your channel?
Well, this is what got her to stop watching that video series in particular, right?
Oh, okay.
So I pointed out that the Comma Johannium, which is in the King James, and is usually not in the body of most more recent translations, isn't there because it's not in any of the older manuscripts. And in fact, the oldest manuscript where it appears as a marginal note. So it's not even in the body of the text.
Sure.
And it's not until like almost the modern period that you start finding codices of the Bible that actually include the Comma Johannium in the main text. And however much you might think that the King James is an old book, it's well within the modern period, as historians use the term. And so I pointed that out, and she was like, "No, that's not okay." I'm like, I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you.
The fact is the fact is the fact. Whether like
yeah, like if you want that in your Bible, okay, but like don't pretend it's original, right?
Sure,
it's
yeah. If you want to believe it, fine, but don't say where it's from, where it's not, or etc.
Yeah, and the other one was that I pointed out that an animal that she had identified as a sauropod was in fact a camel because it had the little like U-shaped camel neck as opposed to an S-shaped dinosaur neck, and it had a hump, like a camel.
Right.
Apparently, she was like, "No, I still think it's a dinosaur," and I'm like, "Okay."
So I think we should probably start looking to wrap up here. And I have one question I want everybody to answer, both in the chat and then the stream here, because we are at like the 4-hour mark, and that's a little bit short for Rum and Cokes, but it was our first one back. I just want to get everybody's opinion in the chat. Hey, fuck cancer?
Yes.
Yeah. We all just like chat.
Fuck
Do
cancer.
you agree? Type
Fuck
in
cancer.
fuck cancer if you agree. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, no, I'm down with fuck cancer.
Down with fuck cancer, Mr. Serious? You down with fuck cancer?
Well, I was thinking we're going to need a poll.
Oh yeah, you need a poll. You want me to make a poll? All right. We'll make a poll. Fuck cancer or not fuck cancer? Is that the?
Fuck cancer or not fuck cancer? That is the question.
I guess it does depend on how literal we're being, because I don't want to do that in a very literal sense, to be fair.
Don't want to actually have sex with cancer.
Yeah,
Somebody that sounds like somebody who hasn't watched Cells at Work yet, and somebody should probably watch Cells at Work. That sounds like somebody who hasn't watched.
Who's echoing?
Sorry, that's me. Yeah, it's fuck cancer, not fuck a cancer.
That's true.
I mean, I don't see a strong differentiation there, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, if I could get a fuck cancer in the chat, please. Fuck cancer, yes, fuck cancer in the chat. Yeah, holler if you hear me. Fuck cancer. I made a poll. Alicia just came in as missed the whole stream.
Oh,
sorry.
You can replay it.
It's true. It'll be available.
That's some consolation, I guess.
Yep, fuck cancer. I think everybody agrees on that. So as much as we may disagree on nuances or have different options and thought processes about things, and we're just some people are saying not to fuck cancer. Yeah, no, fuck cancer. Yeah, fuck cancer. Yeah, they think we all agree. Fuck cancer, and anybody who says otherwise, fuck you. Why are you on the side of cancer?
Might have been a misclick.
Might have been a misclick. Somebody
it wasn't me.
Not fuck cancer.
It wasn't you.
God damn it! You're gonna be.
It was me.
Oh yeah, it would be. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. This is a lot of fun. Cancer and fuck anybody who says otherwise. Have a good night, everybody. This has been lovely. This is gonna just cut off weirdly. So if everybody wants to like say a catchphrase all at the same time. So if you have a catchphrase, say it in 3, 2, 1.
Get on board. Bye everyone.